Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the ultimate Cleveland sports show, along with Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull. It is a Thursday morning. We're having a lot of fun here already. Tyvis is getting up to all kinds of crazy stuff. We don't know what's up with him.
What?
I don't know. I'm just making that up.
Just
There's
saying,
nothing
man.
crazy at all.
No, Jason has been on fire today. From the group
has
text to now, he's just on fire today. Just, you in for a good show. Jason, I don't know what he gonna say today, but I guarantee you we're going to laugh.
Bull texted us this morning and said he wanted to switch the fantasy league to
A good
CBS.
website.
To CBS
Yahoo
from Yahoo.
sucks. Yahoo sucks.
And he said,
McNuggets uses Yahoo.
McNuggets is an amateur.
and Bull's like, it's only going to be $12. I don't know why I'm
I
talking
said-
the Bull voice. This is over
yeah,
text,
go do
but
it,
I'm
yeah.
still going to do the Bull voice.
Do it.
Yeah, it's only $12. It's going to be $12. We'll go to CBS for $12.
Yeah.
And Mikey's like, what's wrong with Yahoo? And Bull's like, everything's wrong with Yahoo. And I said, well, he's got the money. Typical Bull, wanting taxpayers to pay for what he wants.
Exactly.
He can afford it. If he wants CBS, let him pay for it. He can pay for it himself.
I agree. Let the commissioner. If we're gonna let owners pay
You
for
think
the
I should have to pay
stadiums,
for it as the
let the
commissioner?
commissioner pay for his league.
That's right.
The cost.
Hypocrite. You're a hypocrite.
He's-
Calling for Haslam to pay for the stadium, but you won't pay for your own league. You're asking the Haslam to pay $1 billion. We're asking you to pay $140.
He's going to win it anyway.
Yeah.
He's going to win the league anyway.
I
It's just
mean,
an investment in the
are
league.
you guys that cheap that you can't chip in $12? My God.
I've never used CBS.
we get a
I've
Scholarship
never
for the guys
used
who
CBS either. That's why it's interesting.
Yeah.
Not ESPN. Why not the
ESPN sucks.
Why not the NFL fantasy app?
They all stink.
I don't know. I would have to see this CBS.
So what
thing. It
made
don't matter to
CBS
me.
better than all the others?
I mean, we can't. Yeah, there's so many things. But it's just more user friendly.
We do CBS for, I'm in 2 fantasy baseball leagues.
Yeah.
And we use CBS for both of them.
Yeah.
But I've always just used Yahoo for football. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just never used it before. For
Well, what do you like better? You use CBS.
I actually like Yahoo better for baseball because it's daily and CBS is weekly, and I hate that. Baseball games
well,
are
that was
played-
by choice.
I don't know.
I do a daily baseball league on CBS.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Well, then I do like CBS
So
better.
your commissioner said
So
enough.
you
not
willing to
do it.
chip in the now it's $70.
In fact,
a piece.
I've now pulled up to an 11-point lead for my fantasy baseball league. If I win that championship, that is a nice payday.
Yeah? What's the buy-in on that one?
$350.
Oh yeah, that's a great payday.
How many teams?
16.
Oh, wow.
Woo!
Yeah, you can pay for the CBS league yourself.
When is the championship?
It's just you play through the end of the season. Whoever's got the most points at the end of the year wins, and I'm up right now by like 11 points.
Okay.
So it's looking good. All right. I know Mike sent me an email from one of the 2 fans that got entered into our fantasy league. We will. I'm going to reach out to him today, and so we'll be drafting next week.
Are
and
we
we'll-
confirmed
the ball-
with both of them? They're both in?
Yeah, they're both
The two
in.
that we
Both
picked?
in. Yep.
Did we confirm where
Did
we
we
going?
announce who they are
Yes.
Yeah.
on the show? Because that was overtime, right?
When we pick, yeah.
Yeah. So who is it? Butters and what's the other guy's name again?
I don't know if he wants me to use his real name or not.
Okay. Well,
So
We just use this.
whatever name
Is
he
it
gave us.
is it the chat name? Like people in the chat would know him by the chat name, right?
it's
Or is it, all right, never mind.
he was Hanover Webb was
Yeah, there
what
you
he
go.
submitted as the nomination that we voted
So
on.
right.
So him and Butters, and we've met Butters before. He's the one that came in with the giant Kool-Aid costume
That's
one
right.
time.
Yeah.
Which, once again, was completely anonymous in terms of how we voted for it.
Yeah.
You guys didn't know who submitted
It's,
anything.
which
Yeah.
one wrote that big?
That was Hanover Webb.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
That was great.
That was
And, yeah. We don't know him at all, but
Guess we're about to.
So we will. Are they coming in? Or have we invited them in for the
Butters
draft?
is going to come.
Did we
He
pick a
lives
spot?
locally.
Where-
And Hanover Webb lives in
Yeah.
Los Angeles, so probably
Okay.
not.
Mike and I decided, we were trying to. The problem is we're doing it on Tuesday. A lot of restaurants that I was thinking about are either closed on Tuesdays or they don't open till later in the
Oh, I
day.
could totally get us a spot if you want a spot.
We decided we were going to do it
online?
here. Mike said it
gonna
was
do it
easier
here?
for these guys if we did it here.
Oh, all right. That's fine.
We'll just order some food in.
Yeah, we'll
get
order some
lunch.
food in.
We'll go
and
up to the conference
We'll
room
go up to the
upstairs
conference room.
and
all
do
right.
it here.
That's fine.
You know the days where we used to all meet early and go to the conference room, and when they hooked us up with
I did
food
that
back
once.
in the day. Yeah, once.
We had food at the beginning.
The first week we were working, they used to hook us up with food. Yeah.
Well, you knew that wasn't going to last.
Oh,
I don't recall that. I was here day
Travis,
one.
you weren't here for rehearsal week.
I guess that was rehearsal
yeah,
week
no,
that we got all
I forgot what I was
the
doing,
hookups.
but, yeah.
All right, let's. We got a lot to get to today. By the way, I'm very excited. My 11, 12-year-old team, we clinched our division. We are division champs.
Good job, bull.
Why do you have
Good job.
two teams? Aaron's only playing on one team, right?
Yes.
So why are you doing the other one? Just out of the goodness of your heart? Scrooge?
So, yeah, I know a lot of the kids on the younger team, too.
Okay.
Because a number of them played on my Little League team last year.
Yeah.
And they're friends with Aaron, even though some of them are a grade younger.
Yeah.
Well, they all are a grade younger. And when we were putting the teams together, I just decided I would coach both teams for the first year.
Yeah.
And then next year, somebody else will take
That's
over the
cool.
minor league team.
Could you believe in Avon and Avon Lake we could not get 40 kids?
That is crazy.
40 kids for a junior tournament. I mean,
Yeah.
now at this age.
Did you allow kids from other towns? Because we do have some kids from other, not in Little League, but in the fall ball, we have kids from other towns.
Well, we do.
playing.
We were trying to do just I'm not
Yeah.
part of it. They were just trying to do Avon and Avon Lake.
Yeah.
And I mean, fall obviously is very busy.
Right.
And we're talking 8th grade, 9th grade.
Yeah. Oh, okay,
So there's football. It soaks up a lot of the kids.
Right.
Hockey's getting going.
Yeah.
But we couldn't get to 40. So I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to do some sort of abbreviated something, but we couldn't even get to 40 kids.
Yeah, we have about 140 kids.
Wow.
Between the 4 grades, 3rd, 4th,
Oh,
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
Why do
watch those numbers dwindle when they get up.
Well,
one more
right
year.
now we don't have an 8th, 9th grade division, so but we Mercy ruled the team we played last night. We beat them 11-1.
Yeah.
And I still kind of got on the kids a little bit because I thought we were sloppy running the bases. But our starting pitcher, this kid Anthony Graziani, who's the best kid I've seen in Rocky River, he went 4 innings, 60 pitches, had 10 strikeouts, 3 hits, 1 walk, and gave up 1 run. And he hit 2 inside the park home runs that
Jeez.
probably hit each 250, 300 feet.
How old is he?
He's 13.
You know why you can't get 40 kids?
Yeah.
Because they all want to be streamers and influencers nowadays.
Is that it?
Luckily, mine, AJ plays a little bit of video games, but he's not nuts with that stuff.
He loves sports.
Yeah, he loves to be active. He's outside.
That's good.
He's lifting
A
weights.
lot of kids don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the last time y'all broke up a basketball game? You know when they bring the hoop in the street and they shoot. Never mind. That's my culture. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What? You never think
Go ahead.
I
I forgot who I was talking
Our
to.
hoops in Avon Lake, our hoops are in the ground. They don't move. They don't come out.
We got a
I
big
played.
show.
Hey, I played in the street when I was a kid, but
That's
not
what I'm
now.
talking. That's what. No, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, when the last time you was driving through the neighborhood and the
Yeah.
kids had to go, oh, motion.
Yeah, that's not happening.
My
now.
point exactly.
Right, yeah,
It's
now,
different.
No. But in Brooklyn, that would happen all the time. In Rocky River, not so much. Go ahead, Mike.
We got a big show on tap, so let's dive into our first topic, which is brought to us by FanDuel. You guys have heard us talk about FanDuel a lot throughout the year, and it is undisputedly America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, we have a little something different for you guys. Starting today through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook. This morning, both the Browns and Deshaun Watson agreed to a contract restructure, opening up about $35.5 million in cap space for the Browns. The Browns have now have over $62 million in cap space, the most in the league.
Which
Jason,
is funny
you asked Andrew
because
Berry a while ago. What were you saying?
It's funny that they have the most cap space in the league because I think they're spending more money than any other team.
Second most cash spent.
Okay, so second most, and yet they have the most cap space. It's all kind of meaningless. It's just kicking the can. His cap hits, Deshaun Watson, the next 2 years, as of now, I think are over $70 million.
72.
Yeah, so now this didn't kick any money beyond the 5 years, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, it did.
Well, we need to double check. So, according to that, okay, now that's the one.
Okay.
And obviously this just happened. I haven't looked in this. Spot Rack,
Oh.
if that's accurate.
Yeah.
So before the restructure, it was a $9 million dead cap hit in 27. Now it's 26. So you would think,
What about 26? Did that change at all?
yeah, everything went up $9 million each because it was $36 million that they paid out in cash.
Yeah.
So you roll $36 million forward. They added 9 to 25. They added 9 to 26, and they added 18 to 27. So you would think that they would go 9, 9, 9, 9, 25, 26, 27.
Okay, that makes sense.
And add 9 to 28. According to that, they put 18 onto 27. So if that's accurate, they just seem to be loading everything onto 27. And then they'll deal with it then. But they're just going to keep doing this. Like last year when they restructured it, it was the exact same number. It was 36. It was the base pay.
Yeah.
And this year it's 36 again. So it's simple math, really, that it's coming down to on this. And I was just surprised that they put 18 onto 27, 18 million onto 2027, if that's accurate, rather than tacking another 9 million onto 2028. You know what I mean? Divide it evenly, 9, and push 4 years. Each
add another year,
add another dead year in 2028.
I mean,
if that now you could say they're just going to
they can do it again next year.
They're just, and I talked to Zach this morning, and Zach's like, it's all just dummy numbers. Like it's all guaranteed money. He's going to get all his dollars. It's just how you make it work. But the 18 million on 2027, I just thought was really interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is the biggest caveat here is, if Deshaun Watson cannot turn it around, then it's going to become a disaster.
Yeah.
An absolute disaster.
At some point.
Yes.
At some point. Now the cap keeps going up.
Right, but if he gets back to being a great player again,
they're fine.
Then they're fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I think we all acknowledge, and I think down deep the Browns have to acknowledge, that if he's not very good this year, they have to have a new plan.
No,
No,
they ain't. I can't tell.
Well, what are you going to do? Just keep playing him every year if he stinks?
Yep.
You're not going to win anything that way.
Yes, you are. That's exactly what you're going to do. Right? Unless you go Russell Wilson the situation.
I think you'd have to do that if he has a bad year.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy got it. If Jimmy got it, I mean,
yeah,
that's what it is. But I mean, to me, they just doubled down on it. Like, he's gonna be that guy, and that's, you know what, from a player standpoint, that's a confidence booster. You know, everybody been talking about that. He's got to find a way to get his confidence back. This organization has done everything in their power to say, we are with you.
Yep.
This thing rides or dies with you.
Yep.
Whether we go into the playoffs or we don't win a game, we riding with you, and that's a good feeling. I mean, at some point, he's got to think, man, I gotta pay these guys back in my play. You know, when coming out, I forgot who he was talking to. We had somebody on the show that said when Deshaun was coming out, he had Deshaun as the number one quarterback, and Andy Reid had Patty Mahomes. Who was that?
That was Charlie Weiss, who I had on my podcast.
Yeah.
And we played the clip here.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was. Yeah. Y'all make sure y'all go check that out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you got you. Anyways, he's got to get back to being up there with Patty Mahomes. And I know that's just right now, when you think about that, where he's at and where Patty Mahomes is, it sounds so far-fetched.
It does.
Like, it's like there's no way that he's getting back.
Right.
But at a point in time, he was playing to that level. And I know the injuries stink, and I know that the Browns have tried to get weapons around him, but that's what it's going to have to be for this thing to be successful. He's got to find a way to get back there. And I know a lot of the world, like 90% of the Browns is out on it. Browns fans are out of it. I'm a part of the 10% that said it's still in there. It got to be. Like,
I think it's more than that.
It has
Everybody
to be.
thinks it's still in there.
Okay, well, they're good.
A lot of people think it's
well,
still
good.
in
I'm in the
there.
majority then. I thought I was in the minority on this.
Well, I think people think, obviously you don't forget how to play quarterback overnight. It's still in there. It's just a matter of, can you get to it?
Can he get to it again?
Consistently.
That's the question.
You can get to it once in 17 games.
Like,
you get to it twice.
Like when you watched
you
him,
get to it 15 times.
When you watched him in his games last year, what was it that made you like, I don't know, was it just stats? Do you think he was missing throws? Do you think he was missing reads? Like what when you watched him last year, what was it that was like, I don't know.
For me,
Question. Yeah.
the Baltimore game when he said he told everybody in the organization, I'll be fine, I'll be fine, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. And they believed him. And then it got to Sunday morning and he said, nope, can't go.
But see, that's just misassessing the situation, because when you get hurt and people tell you, oh, if you get the shot, you'll be fine. Like, you think, trust me, I was on the opposite end. I was like, ain't no way no shot gonna make me feel good. And you get the shot and you be like, man, I'm actually fine. Well, in that case, he probably thought he was flipped it. He said, I'm gonna get the shot and I'm gonna be fine to play.
Yeah.
And he probably got it and was like, nah, I still ain't that. So to me, I'm not faulting him for that. I just think he just totally butchered that situation. He should have just sat out the weekend and realized that.
I know there were players that were upset that felt like he told us all week.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with but still that.
And it's not just that, but I'm just saying.
But let's stay field related. When you watched him last year on the field, when you watched him play, what was it that was kind of like?
I think it's everything you mentioned, but what I would say is this. You know how in the NFL they've now had to define a catch, and it's completely confusing, right? But when we play football, when you played as a kid, we know what a catch is.
Yeah.
It's hard to define it.
Yeah,
but you know what it is. You
yeah.
know a catch and you know it's not a catch. When you watch Patrick Mahomes, it's special watching him play.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And when I watched Deshaun Watson in Houston, it felt like I was watching someone special. That he could make a magical play every time he had the ball, or do something special with his legs every time he had the ball. And I have never felt that way here. He hasn't looked like the guy.
Even in the second half of Baltimore, you didn't feel that.
No, I think that's the most overblown half of football that I've ever seen in my entire life. Almost every throw was a dink and dunk.
I feel like
he threw one touchdown, one touchdown in the second half.
You know what? I think you're both right on that because you're right. All the throws were like 4 and 5 yards.
Yeah.
But to play through the injury that he was playing through, to throw with the ball at all was unbelievably impressive.
100%.
And to pick up yards with the sprained ankle on the ground.
But we've turned
I was the first one to say that.
Ever.
People are clinging to that like air in their lungs.
I saw a tweet this morning because somebody retweeted Nick Wright on Fox picking the Browns to finish third. I didn't listen to the video, but maybe I don't know what he said about Watson, but obviously it wasn't complimentary. And one person said, man, it's like people forgot what happened in the Baltimore game. As if there are a number of fans who think that Baltimore second half proves that Deshaun Watson was back. And I don't think that's the case.
I think it's because of the situation. To do it in Baltimore against a defense that was the Browns was 1A, they was 1B. So to do it against that defense and that situation in Baltimore is why people's like, mentality-wise, it's like, all right, he's got the right mentality because he was like, bleep it, I'll win this thing by myself, and he kind of did that. So that's why.
I mean, they got a pick six in the second half.
True, but I'm saying from an offensive standpoint, he did the things he needed to do, whereas previous quarterbacks, it would have been a pick or a fumble, or they just wouldn't have converted, and it would have been the end of the game. So to see him have some success in those defining moments, it's like that's kind of what you want out of your quarterback. And with Jason's point, to see them have the injuries that he had, to say there is no excuse. I ain't giving y'all, my ankle's messed up, my shoulder's messed up, but I'm still going out there and I found a way to win the game. Like, that does mean something.
Absolutely.
Now, I agree with you on the first Baltimore thing. If I was a player on that team and he told me all week he was playing and we got to the game and he said I can't go, I'd be upset.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you should have said that and we could have had a game plan. We could have figured something out. So you kind of put us in jeopardy there. But maybe that's why that Baltimore game where he played like he was hurt, maybe that's why he did it, because he felt I needed to make up for what I did in the past. And you got to say he kind of did.
That second half is the only game in 2 years that you could make the argument that you won because of him. And I'm not even completely convinced you won that game because of him, but that's the only one.
Well, Tennessee, he played really well. I'm trying to remember the details of that.
But here's my point,
I honestly don't remember.
The only game that I say
Baker
he
Mayfield
lost
had a lot of good games against the Tennessees and the Arizonas too. I didn't trade for Deshaun Watson so I could beat a shitty Arizona team.
Right.
You traded for him to win the big games that Baker Mayfield couldn't win.
That's absolutely fair. That's fair.
I agree.
So you said, like, what have you seen or what have you seen? I just pulled up the schedule. He wasn't good at Cincinnati. We know the weather. So throw that out, fine. Pittsburgh, I didn't think he was good at Pittsburgh.
Terrible.
He lost that game.
Yes.
Tennessee, he played well week 3. Colts, he was awful. They pulled him in the first quarter. It was not injury related. It was performance related. He was terrible in Indianapolis.
He was about to throw 2 picks, I think.
Arizona was his first game, like really back.
Yeah.
He was fine. They're a bad team. He played fine. Yeah.
But he played good, but it was a terrible team.
And then the Baltimore game. Right. And that's it. Like that's if we go back and look at last year, that's all we have to go on. So Cincinnati.
He's just been a guy for the most part here.
Yeah.
And that's disappointing. And I don't like that people are moving the goalposts on him because the expectation was for him to be a superstar, and he's not been that.
You can't move the goalposts. With this that just came out today, there is no moving the goalposts. I just told you. Yeah. You gotta be Patrick Mahomes level type play for the next few years for this thing to work. Because that's what the organization is paying you and saying, like, hey, we think you can still be the next you can still be up there and go toe to toe with Patty Mahomes. And we're going to pay you and take care of you as such.
I wrote a story on this last year, right on this same topic about how do you handle this contract and all that. And AB was in Philly, and Philly is really good at this. And partly because I'm sure that's where AB learned it. And it's all about picking the right contracts to restructure. And the Browns have nailed it to this point. They restructured Bitonio, hasn't hurt him. They restructured Wyatt, didn't hurt him. Restructured Jed, didn't hurt him. Miles, all the ones that they did not restructure Nick last year. And before the injury, they did not, because they knew even before he got hurt that probably were going to have to rework that contract. So they did not restructure.
Njoku? No, that wasn't a restructure. That was an extension.
But now on the flip side of that, Atlanta did not handle the restructures well, and they restructured Matt Ryan one too many times, and they got whacked with a $60 million dead cap charge when he wasn't even in Atlanta anymore. And that's before the cap took off and everything else. So it's about timing, it's about picking the right contracts to restructure, and you have to have an owner willing to write a check for $36 million.
Right.
And it's not even that. Some owners won't. Most owners probably won't do that. Lamar Hunt ain't doing that in Kansas City. Your guy in Cincy ain't doing that.
No.
The Steelers aren't doing that.
Nope.
So you have to have an owner who's got the liquidity to do it, who has the passion to do it. And that's where I think AB and Jimmy make a good team. Is AB's really good at knowing which contracts to restructure, and he's got an owner willing to back him up and pay the financials to do it. And now we'll see. Now you see.
It's all up to Deshaun.
Let me ask you guys this real quick, just to put a bow on this before we move to the Guardians. The Browns now have the most cap space in the NFL. Are you under the assumption this is just a rollover, or do you think there's something to be used this cap space for that Andrew Berry has up his sleeve?
What could they use it on right now?
You tell me.
It's a rollover.
It's a rollover.
I mean, everyone's going to scream Brandon Ayuk, but I don't think that's it at all.
I wouldn't scream that. I would, if anything, I would scream maybe a left tackle.
But Brandon Ayuk.
What is Trent Williams?
I don't think they could make that trade.
They could have done it before.
Yeah, they could have done it before. And supposedly, I don't know if this is true or not.
He said he didn't.
Supposedly, he doesn't want to play here, so that doesn't matter. And what left tackle are you going to get? Like, the Niners not trading Trent Williams. I know he's holding out, but
see, his situation is different than a lot of people because we talk about call your bluff. Like, and it's gonna come down to sitting out of games.
Right.
He's paid. He will sit out of them games, and it could get bad.
Right.
So one or two things is gonna happen. Either you gonna pay him, or you gonna trade him.
I mean, if you're the Browns, what do you got to give up to get him? A first-round pick?
I have no idea.
You probably got to give him a first-round pick, don't you?
How old is he?
How old is Trent Williams?
I mean,
I think he's 36.
Yeah, he was old when we had the Trent Williams conversation 4 years ago.
Yeah, but he's still one of maybe the best in the league, though. But how much can you give up for a guy who's he's 36?
I think a second-round pick, honestly.
I can't get. I thought he was younger than that. I didn't realize he was 36.
If they want to say, I might.
I'm not trading a first-round pick.
If it take a second-round pick. I think I might do that.
I would do that.
I think I would do it.
Williams just turned 36, by the way. I was right.
I would do it.
Because
second-round pick.
I would keep my first-round pick for next year's draft, and then
Jed Wills and a second-round pick. Let's go.
But again,
I don't know if they'd take it, but I would.
They are all in on right now.
Yeah.
And I was talking about the 2027 cap. Nobody cares about the 2027 cap.
No, because a lot of their key players are going to be.
They're not under contract right now for whether or not they re-sign. We'll see.
Yeah, but even if they do, they're old. Bitonio, Teller, Miles, Nick.
36.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that man a beast.
So they are all in for right now.
Yeah.
So if you got it,
That's it.
I don't think under any circumstance the Niners trade.
They
Trent Williams.
shouldn't.
I doubt it.
I wouldn't if I
No.
was them, but
You never know.
If you ain't gonna pay them,
All right, Mike.
We got to talk a little Guardians, guys. It was a hell of a win yesterday after a word from a brand new sponsor. Guys, before you work out, if you need that extra energy boost, there's no better way to get a little extra pep in your step than with a 5-hour energy. If you want to get in shape but have trouble staying motivated, make 5-hour energy shots part of your lifestyle and get the energy boost you need to get a great lift in. We all know you sometimes don't want to go to the gym, but take a 5-hour energy shot to give you the feeling and alertness so you can make it to the gym. It has 0 sugar. It's convenient in portable sizes. Plus, it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. The 5-Hour Energy website has flavors galore like watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry, and there's a flavor for everyone. Try them all on the site. You even have the option to build your own 12 or 24-pack. You choose the flavors, and it's delivered right to your door. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that number is the number 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5-hour energy today. You can use promo code LOCKEDONFB to receive 20% off your order. The promotion is valid through September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. That code, once again, LOCKEDONFB. Go to 5hourenergy.com today.
I'll tell you, every Tuesday and Thursday, I am locked in to get in the gym. As soon as the show is over, I'm hitting the gym. I try to get Tyvus to go to the gym with me, and he's always saying no. He's lazy, he's tired. And then all of a sudden, he has his 5-hour energy, and he's ready to go.
that's right.
It's amazing what it does.
That's right.
That's right.
Listen, it's a long.
That's how he's able to keep up with me.
It'd be a
It
long
seems
drive
like-
up here, and I'll be needing something. And that you gave me
Yeah.
that 5-hour. We was in there
Boom!
banging weights
Well,
today.
the Guardians in the 7th inning last night must
Yeah.
have all had some 5-hour energy shots
Yeah.
because they came back to life. And, Bo, you tweeted it could be a season-saving win with that comeback over the Royals. Do you
Yeah.
want to expand on why you thought last night's win was so crucial
Yeah.
to the Guardians saving their season?
Well, I think if the Guardians end up winning the division, and there's only, 28 games left, I believe.
Oh, there's more than that. Is it really that?
I think it's 28. You want to double check that, Mike?
Fast.
I believe there's 28 games left in the season for the Guardians. When on yesterday's show, we talked about all the things that are going wrong for the Guardians. It's been just horrible lately. And you had lost 3 straight to Kansas City. And, in fact, Kansas City technically had the lead in the division because they had the tiebreaker when the teams were tied. And 4 weeks from now, because the regular season ends 4 weeks from Sunday, if the Guardians win the division, we are going to look back and we're going to point to this game because not only would the Royals have just had a 4-game sweep in Cleveland, they would have taken a 1-game lead in the division. And instead, the Guardians rally back, get off the deck, a team that had shown no life offensively at all for a couple of weeks. And those last 3 innings, they rally back, and instead of being down 1 off a sweep at home, they're now up 1, avoided the sweep, and now you got Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh right now is playing as bad as anybody. The Cubs just scored. The Cubs just scored, I think, 51 runs against, or 40-something runs against them in 3 games. And the Cubs' offense has not been great either. It's been similar to the Guardians in a lot of ways.
Pittsburgh blew
So
that game.
now you have a chance to, the Pittsburgh blew a game to the Cubs yesterday
They was up
too.
like 10-3.
Yeah, 10-3.
And they lost 14-10.
So hopefully the Guardians at home against Pittsburgh can now get on a roll and maybe even build up a lead. I don't know who Kansas City's playing this weekend, but maybe even build
When
up
do
a
they
lead
play the
before they
Yankees?
go to Kansas City.
Do they play the Yankees after us?
I don't know. Mike, it's 28 games left, right? Okay, yeah.
That is correct.
Yes.
I thought it was a big win for him too because
was huge.
I was sitting there watching it because I was on the radio when it came on yesterday, and I had said to my co-host, I said, if they got anything to them, if the Guardians got a pulse, or if they got some
Cojones.
yeah, they would find a way to win this
Yeah.
because it's that serious. It's like a World Series game to me, and I ain't gonna lie. When at the beginning, I was like, "Oh my goodness, man, they about to really lose this game." And the spark to me came when Bo Naylor hit the home run. I was like, Bo Naylor has been a name that I haven't said
Yeah.
in like a month.
He
And
hadn't done much.
when he did that, I said, okay, they got some pulse to him. I thought they had some fight for sure, but when they came back and took the league, I was like, all right, I was with Bull. I was like, this was a very key game. Because, like you said, if they would have got swept at home, like that's like a dagger. Like they just completely spit in your face. Like, hey, what Roquan Smith said about the Browns? We gonna come to their house and go in their refrigerator and kick them. That's what Kansas City was doing to them, man. For them to have some fight back to them, I was like, all right. So it's still there. Y'all still care. It's still there. And I think you're right. When we look back, if they win the division, this will be the game.
Yeah.
That a lot of people are going to be like, that was the one. This might be the turning moment. They might get the bats back.
And before you go, Jason, the Royals are not playing the Yankees, but they are playing the Astros, who are playing really well.
Royals
and the Dodgers.
Royals have a brutal
Yeah, well, the
stretch coming
Guardians
up.
have the Dodgers, too.
The Astros, then.
Oh, that's what I meant. The Guardians play the Dodgers and the Astros to end the season.
No. I'm saying the Royals are playing the Astros this weekend.
The Royal schedule goes Astros, Guardians, Twins, Yankees. That's their next 4 series.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the difference between being 1 game down and 1 game up, when they're playing the Pirates and the Royals are playing the Astros, that could be all the difference.
Well,
in this,
the
when it's all
fact that
said
the
and
Royals
done.
have the tiebreaker is huge.
Yes.
So that's why it's important. I can't say that it's going to be the victory of the season because they still have, 3 more in Kansas City and 4, I'm talking Cleveland now.
Yeah, 4 more in Minnesota.
4 more in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And that's going to determine it. But certainly it stopped the bleeding.
Yeah.
Which they needed. I was in the clubhouse yesterday before the game. I was working on a different piece that, yes, I will write.
Yeah, okay. I'm just saying.
Allegedly.
I'm
next
just saying.
week. I will write it next week.
We'll see it. It'll be out in 6 months.
I will give a little bit of a tease. It's on Gavin Williams. It's really interesting. On Gavin. Gavin's fastball has been hit harder. He's throwing it harder in August than he ever has, and it's being hit harder than ever. That it's really interesting.
6 months from now, check it out.
Would you stop? Next week. I will write it next week. I was talking to a couple guys in the clubhouse yesterday, and they're like, there is no panic in here. There is no fear. Like, it's the same clubhouse today as it was when they were hot in May and June. It's the exact same. And you can argue if that's good or bad. Maybe there should be a little bit more sense of urgency, but these guys are not rattled by the fact that they've gone from, a 9-game lead to a 1-game lead now. And they just have this confidence about them that they're still going to, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because I do think we don't need to go rehash all the changes, but I do think that and September 1st is coming. Like, I think they are going to get reinforcements here on September 1st.
Rosters expand to 28.
Yeah, we'll see who they bring up and how much they play them. But they do need a spark. Like, one victory doesn't solve everything. And hopefully they can. I never expect a sweep. It's baseball. I don't expect them to sweep the Pirates, but I do expect them to take 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, the
better.
Pirates' bullpen's a disaster.
Yeah.
A disaster. And the Guardians have to take advantage of it because you're missing their 2 best pitchers.
You have to win 2 of 3.
Wait a minute. You say the Pirates' bullpen is a disaster?
Awful.
Good. That means John Kinsey. Put the camera on me, Steve.
Oh, boy.
John Kinsey, we need to listen. We running out. 28 games. I need 8 more of them things.
Yep.
So I can look at Jason in the eye and tell him that I am the baseball expert. So take advantage of this Pirates weekend.
He's got to average 2 home runs every 7 games.
That's fine.
I tell you, I was in the press box the other night, and Zach Meisel was like, Travis might be right about that 20. I was like, don't you dare!
I'm just saying.
Don't you dare!
Listen, he get 2 this weekend. It's happening.
There you go.
Where are the Guardians on his bold prediction?
Where are they? They were 14th, and they was like.
Right, I'll tell you right
But
now.
they've been hitting homers, though, so they should have moved up to 12.
They tagged a few yesterday.
The Guardians in home runs
12.
are 15th on the dot.
Oh, my God!
That's still the top half.
It is the top half.
If they fall one more spot, they're out of it.
You know what? I'm feeling so generous. I'll even give you 16. If they finish 16, that's pretty good.
Well,
That's
they're
close
3
enough.
ahead of Seattle for 16 and
Oh,
6 ahead of Colorado for 17.
Yeah, well,
How did this happen?
because
y'all
they
got to
weren't.
get the bats going again.
They should never have been as high as they were.
Don't say that,
In the
boy.
beginning of the year, we said they needed to be middle of the pack to be in the mix, and they've been middle of the pack.
They've been hitting homers, though. Like, I'm shocked that they dropped.
Yeah.
Who's 14?
How many are they behind the 14th team, Mike?
They are 1 behind Kansas City, who's 14th. 2
Ah,
behind San
shoot.
Diego, who's 12th, who's tied with Cincinnati at 12.
All right, so they're only 2 behind from being a 12.
Yeah.
So they could,
Come on.
they
John.
could end up anywhere from 12 to 17.
John Kinsey should be batting every day.
Let's go, John Kenzie. But yeah, so the one negative from the game yesterday is Tanner Bybee was bad again.
Yeah.
He's not pitching well.
Yeah.
Bullpen was great yesterday. Everybody did their job in the pen. I think they gave him 3 hits as a bullpen.
Is that the thing that when they get to the playoffs, does that bother you?
I mean,
because
right now
him and Gavin is like.
It's funny because when Boyd made his first start and then Cobb made his second start, it was a really good trip around the rotation. And we were all like, all right, here we go. And ever since then, the rotation outside of Lively has been bad.
That's funny.
Boyd's been fine.
Yeah.
But your 2 most important starters have not pitched well.
So you in the playoffs, who's your top 4?
It's still Bybee Williams for me, 1-2. As terrifying
Bybee
as that
Williams,
is.
Really?
Lively is 3, and right now
I
you'd
don't
have to
feel
say-
great about that.
Yeah, how could
How
you feel
could
great
you?
about it? They're not pitching well.
But, I mean, 28
We got
games
3
is
weeks to turn it around.
5 more starts for each of them.
Come on.
Yeah.
man, let's go.
But it would be Bybee 1, Gavin Williams 2,
Lively
3, and Cobb 4.
Well, right now Boyd 4. I mean,
Cobb's coming back this
You need
weekend.
to cut this boy hate out. I told
It's
you.
not hate.
Yes, it is. I told you that he was gonna be just fine.
yeah.
I don't know. I know.
He's never been fine
He's
in
been a
his
journeyman.
career.
He's
He
been a
hasn't
journeyman.
fine.
He's been okay. It's something about the Guardians.
Well, that's true.
That just if Lively's doing it, Boyd could do it.
Well, they're only doing it with journeyman right now because Tristan McKenzie's a disaster this year, Logan Allen's a disaster this year, and Bybee and Williams have both been disappointments.
Well, McKenzie.
What is Bybee's ERA now in the season, Mike?
McKenzie's dealing with an
3.65.
injury.
3.65?
Yeah, 3.65
That's
is a
not- that's not
113
terrible.
whip.
That's actually better than I thought, but it's not great.
You can't.
That's fine.
You
If
can't.
you put real quick, I made the graphic yesterday,
Yeah.
the pitching matchup, and it didn't change at all because Waka and Bybee both gave up 5 earned runs.
Yeah.
They have nearly identical numbers in record, ERA, whip, and Bybee has a few more strikeouts.
Yeah.
But essentially, Tanner Bybee's been Michael Waka
Right,
this
right.
year, and Michael Waka is not an ace.
No.
Bybee's not an ace right now.
He's their ace because that's all
yeah,
he's
but
got.
he's not an ace.
But he's not an actual. And I thought he would. Like
I thought he would. I thought he and Williams would both pitch like aces or close to it. They haven't.
So you lost your.
Oh, yeah. He's not getting a Cy Young.
Now, in fairness,
Just
Tarek
one.
Skubal
Unless I break into the voting.
is the only pitcher in the American League, Jason, that has an ERA under 3, I believe.
Starter.
Starter, yeah.
Yeah.
Skubal's the only one.
I will confirm.
Corbin Burns has not pitched well lately.
Skubal will.
He got hit up his last.
It is interesting who's going to win the Cy Young.
That's correct, Bull, by the way.
Right? Who's got the second best ERA among starters? Is it, what's his name,
talking
Logan
about the
Gilbert?
AL?
Logan Gilbert, 309. Now, there's National League pitchers with sub 2. But
Yeah, in the
Oh,
American League,
They said Chris Sale's
Skubal's going to
winning
win the
that.
Cy Young, unless he gets blown up in the last few weeks.
I think Skubal should win.
Yeah.
Zach has a really interesting story coming out on Class A's case.
Yeah, we talked about it on Monday.
Oh, did you? On
yeah,
the
a little
podcast?
bit. Yeah.
It's interesting. I personally, I could never vote for a reliever to win Cy Young.
Right,
I just
I know.
can't. Even as great of a year as he's having.
Right.
It's messed up.
You're throwing 1 inning.
It's messed up.
You're
Jason.
throwing 1 inning.
It wasn't great in it.
It is great.
So that's
1 inning.
I think he could finish second reasonably.
I think he will finish
yeah.
second. I think he probably
But
will.
it's
because
hard.
there's nobody else that's a great candidate.
The only argument for him over Skubal is that the Guardians are playoff contender and the Tigers are not.
what is his record?
But I don't hold that against the pitcher.
How many saves?
39, 38, 38.
That's not a record-breaking number.
is
We've got
not.
25 games to go.
it doesn't even lead the league.
Class A?
Hensley has 40. Class A has 39.
Well, Hensley's in the National League, but
Yeah.
it doesn't lead the majors.
Well, I just mean, lead the majors. That's
Yeah.
what I meant. His ERA, I mean, he's having a much better season than Hensley. Don't get me wrong. But technically, he does not lead the major leagues
Yeah.
in saves.
You know what's funny is, like, as you talk about prospects and everything, in Skubal in Detroit, they had a big 3 prospect pitchers too, and he was number 3. It was Casey Mize, Matt Manning, and then Skubal was their third.
Yeah, right.
Just
And
like
he's
Bybee.
way better than those other two guys.
And Bybee was third here.
Espino
Espino, Gavin,
and
and then
Yeah.
Tanner Bybee. And Tanner, to this point, has turned out to be the best of.
I want to see this Espino guy.
I don't know if he
He
ever
hasn't
will.
pitched in like 3 years.
Yeah, I don't know if he ever will. Maybe I think he's a reliever at this point.
All right, so the Guardians and the Off Pirates.
tonight.
Off tonight, then 3-game set with the Pirates. Too bad they're not playing the Pirates 4 games.
Yeah, that
All right, Mike. Go
6
ahead.
games.
Yeah,
7
right.
games.
Yeah, we're gonna save the Quan topic for tomorrow, but we're gonna table that because we can
Let's
have that
table it.
conversation tomorrow.
Table
But
it.
I really want to get to this next thing. Quick reminder though, that if you're not already a subscriber to the newsletter, you can text the number you see on the bottom of your screen right now to get signed up for the weekly UCSS newsletter. It has some exclusive content we don't have on the show, plus a schedule preview, anything you may have missed. And it is completely free. Just text the number you see at the bottom of your screen. Also, if you're not a member and want to become a member, you can be a coaches tier member. You can be a starters tier member. You can find all that information on our YouTube page. All right, guys. I personally enjoy listening to the Bill Simmons podcast. I know it's not for everybody. He is not everyone's cup of tea, but he does have some pretty interesting conversations. And he had Kyle Brandt on this week. And he ran through with Kyle Brandt's top 5 coaching storylines that he's most fascinated by in 2024. Kevin Stefanski and a storyline was part of the top 5. And we're going to start with the Stefanski part. Then I want to talk about the other one just because I think we'll have some fun with it. So this is Kyle Brandt on why Kevin Stefanski is in his top 5 of most fascinating storylines to keep an eye on from a coaching perspective in 2024. Steve, let's play the clip.
All right, 5. I'm going to go with the reigning coach of the year, Kevin Stefanski, coach of the Cleveland Browns. And I'll tell you why. This guy has won coach of the year twice. Last year, he and Joe Flacco went on this Disney movie run to the playoffs, and it was a really cool story. There is a complete and utter enigma with Kevin Stefanski's quarterback, Deshaun Watson. He has not played a good, solid season in 4 years. His last season that he played was good and healthy was the COVID year with no fans in the stands. And there was real discussion at the end of last season about the Browns have found something with Flacco. This works. They respond to him. His chemistry with Stefanski is amazing. Flacco's now gone. I think he's on the Colts. And it's like, all right, Deshaun Watson, it's 5 years waiting for it. If we talk about the AFC North, Bill, it's like, all right, Lamar's the MVP. We're talking more about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields than Deshaun Watson, and then Burrow is Burrow. So it's like the Browns need to win a playoff game this year. They should. They were in one last year and got killed.
He showed up with a kind of a shitty attitude to begin with.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, for why? They spent everything to get him. He's hugely paid. He hasn't accomplished anything since some of these guys were even in the league. And if they mess up in that division, like you could look at 6-11 really, really fast. So I think like everybody loves Stefanski, totally respected by players, obviously like voters and stuff, but he has to deal with this guy that not everybody respects and that is not only reviled, but just completely mysterious. I don't know if he has it. I don't know if he was a top 5 guy in 2020. I don't know if he's a top 20 guy. I have no clue. And I think I'll find out really quickly. They open also, Bill, the Browns week 1 game is Tom Brady's first call. So he's going to be talking extensively about Watson. And if Watson doesn't play well, Brady's going to go in on him. It's amazing. Stefanski's at the center of it.
All right. I actually don't have any problem with anything he said. Do you? Anybody?
The part that stuck out to me was the Deshaun came here with a terrible attitude.
Oh yeah, that part. I don't know.
I just kind of threw that out the window.
Yeah, I wasn't really.
Yeah, but no, wait. See,
that
that's
was
the thing.
Simmons that said
You
it.
can't put that type of stuff out there though if you don't really know. Like I didn't.
Well,
from
I
what-
don't know.
everything
Maybe Bill Simmons said it. That wasn't actually
honestly,
Kyle Brandt that said
From
that.
everything I heard, they all loved him.
I think Bill is and I don't know, I'm speculating. I think Bill's probably basing that on the interview that Deshaun had at the Greenbrier in the column that I wrote. His answer is based on people don't like me and da-da-da-da-da. I think that it wasn't just my column. Other people nationally were picked up on that too. And if I had to guess, Simmons is basing that entire comment off that one interview with the Greenbrier.
So this is your fault.
Now, I said other people decided other people
That was what Simmons said, so I wasn't paying attention to that. The rest of what Kyle Brandt said, was on point. What do we do? Is there anything you disagree with that he said?
No, I thought that everything he said was accurate. You know, Deshaun has not played as a top 5 quarterback. Yes, they do need to win a playoff game this year, and Kevin Stefanski has shown that dealing with all this other stuff, he's still a really good coach, and people are seeing what he's gone through and how he still has had this team successful. Listen, I have not heard one person say anything negative about Kevin. He seems like the most easygoing, genuine guy. People think that he's cocky, and the number one thing that people would say is he won't give up play, he won't get out of his own way, he don't trust nobody with the plays, and I don't think that's the case. I just think that they have a rhythm, and he's in rhythm right now, and he feels like the things that he's doing is successful. I think he feels that he gets the best out of his quarterbacks. It's best when he's calling the plays because he understands the quarterback's limitation. He understands what they like to do. He understands what they're good at. He understands how they will thrive in certain situations. And I think that's why he wants to be the one that calls those plays. And yeah, it was a time a couple years ago where we were questioning some of the things that he did. But last year, that kind of was put to bed a little bit. Everybody was kind of behind some of the things that he was doing. And as long as he got the Johns and the Joes to do it, he'll be successful.
Tyvus, is the system that Kevin Stefanski has run the last 2 years,
play action,
is it good for Deshaun Watson?
I think he has to be more open to it. Think about this. Think about it. Is it a good system? Any system that Kevin has run has been successful for whatever quarterback has been willing to do what Kevin's done. We heard Joe Flacco last year. Yeah. They was like, Joe, how are you making all these great plays? He said, talk to Kevin. Kevin's the one doing it. Well, but
here's what I would say. And again, this is coming from someone who has been a huge Kevin Stefanski defender and supporter. Defender when people were being critical in past years and supporter the whole time. The best coaches adjust their system to the players, not the other way around.
That's a fact. That's what happened with Dayball and Josh Allen.
And I don't know that we've discussed this at all. But there has to be some criticism of Kevin Stefanski for that.
Well, that's what they're doing this year.
I was about to say, why you think he in here?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Well, but we haven't seen it yet. We heard last year the offense was going to be different, and it wasn't.
Well, maybe that's why they went in. Maybe that's what the overhaul on the offensive staff was about. You can't fire Kevin because
no, I'm not saying
Kevin's
fire.
Great. He's a great play caller. But Kevin probably spent last year trying to come up with stuff for Deshaun, and it
didn't work.
It didn't work. So it was like, well, insanity would be just running back with that same offensive staff. Well, we're not going to fire Kevin because he's a great coach. Everybody loves him and the things that he's done. So what we're going to do is we're going to get people that fit more to what Deshaun does. That see it the way Deshaun does. And I don't blame Deshaun for this because he's been in the spread pretty much his entire career.
Right.
Clemson was the spread. Bill O'Brien at Texas and with the Texans was the spread. That's just what he knows. And that's where he made his money.
Right. And to some degree I get it. Maybe Kevin thought initially that even though Deshaun Watson hadn't run this kind of offense, that in his mind, if Deshaun got it down, that he would thrive in this offense. That was probably his premise, but it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
And part of it's injuries, part of it's
on both of them. Because I do think at some point Deshaun should have been a little bit more open. Not saying that he wasn't.
Right.
But clearly when they went to meet with Deshaun, Kevin and Deshaun had a film session.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Kevin was like, listen, I'm going to show you these plays right here. This is what you're going to look like. And when you think about it, it's a play-action boot team. You think about Deshaun Watson. All right, we're going to run the ball to Nick Chubb. These defenses are going to start biting on Nick Chubb. Now we're going to turn it into a play-action. You got your tight end on the over route. You can hit David Njoku, and they're going to start – what's going to happen is now these linebackers is going to start playing that. If they playing that, nobody's playing you. So you got the legs, pick up the thing. We should always be pushing the chains forward, no matter what. We should get the chains moving forward. And I don't know, maybe last year it just didn't happen like that. And then, like you say, injuries played a part of it.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what, I just like the shotgun. It's something about me being in 5 wide, controlling everything and seeing everything fast that I just react fast. I can get the ball out of my hands. I can make things happen with my legs. That's just who I am. And he just couldn't figure out how to get back into that under center play action. Maybe it was boring him. I don't know. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. But clearly there was something there, and it would be insanity to go out there and run the same stuff.
Yeah.
Not saying that they won't do it because Kevin still got his hand on some of this stuff, but you still need to make your quarterback be as comfortable as he is and put him back in the system that he thrives the most if you want him to get back to being that guy. And I think this front office has done everything they can to do that.
Yeah.
Play action is play action is more effective from under center than shotgun. Fair.
That's a fact.
Can you still do it?
Yeah, you can run it. Yeah,
but it's not.
It's more RPO though.
Yeah,
it'd be more effective when you run that RPO and you get that linebacker to step up. See, now he gotta step up to it, and if he step up, now you pull it and you can throw the ball behind him. Like that's what he thrived at, RPO systems, which I'm sure when we talked to Zach on Tuesday, he was like, a lot of the stuff is short, quick game throws. Well, they better put RPO in it so you can get that linebacker out there, throw the ball behind him. You got Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore. All these guys thrive with yards after catch. So get the ball in their hands, let them be an athlete and pick up those yards those ways. But the run game got to be. Jerome Ford and Deontay Foreman got to be effective, because if the linebackers don't respect the run, they not stepping up to nothing. Which is a big part. That's where the Nick Chubb thing kind of scares me.
The first year they were together, I think you just have to throw that out because the suspension. They knew.
Right. Yeah.
They knew it was going to be a suspension of some sort. It wound up being even more than they first, I think, were anticipating. Throw that out. That entire season. Last year, I do think that it was Kevin trying to get Deshaun to buy in a little bit more to under center, play action, and I no one will ever convince me otherwise that the success that Flacco had running the system played a part in them blowing the whole thing up. And it may sound counterintuitive, but
No, I get it. Because they said, Watson just can't do this. It was clear after Flacco was able to pick it up that quickly that Watson was not capable of doing that.
And it was also, yes, I'm not, yeah, you're right. And so I just think that they finally felt like, listen, we've invested all this money in this guy.
Yeah.
Let's do everything we can to do it his way. And that's not, it's not necessarily the wrong route to take. Like,
no, I don't
agree.
think it is.
Like, you have to do it this way. And it's probably the best route to success. And hopefully they can have the success. But I will be interested to see, and I think you nailed it with the RPO thing. One of Kevin's biggest tenets of his offense is play action. Like, he loves to run play action. So how do you marry Kevin's want for play action with Deshaun's skill set? RPO is the obvious answer.
Yeah.
So if they can marry those two, you could have a really explosive offense. We'll see if it works.
Which is what made, think about the Eagles with Jalen Hurts before, what's the coach name? Shane Steichen?
Steichen, yeah.
Before he left, that's what helped Jalen Hurts get back. They went and got a bunch of athletes. Big RPO team. He was very successful with those. Yeah. So what do you think it should look like? If you want an idea of what it might look like, go back and watch the Eagles when Shane Steichen was there. Go watch the Colts from last year when Anthony Richardson was in. You get those athletic quarterbacks, that RPO, because if you fake the run, and you don't want to throw that, you can still take off with your legs.
Lamar, obviously.
Yeah,
even Lamar. Washington with Jaden Daniels this year.
So it's a big component. And I'm going to tell you right now, for a nickel, I've played nickel, and I've been around linebackers. That RPO stuff, boy, it puts you in a bind. It really does. Because the one that gets you the most, it ain't even the slant that kill you. It's when they run them speed outs from the inside. Oh my goodness! Because your linebacker's going in, so the next person that's got to check it is the safety that's over the top. And if he runs an out, like, you got to come down, angle tackle, which is hard in space. Like this, But these guys got to make plays. The receivers got to make plays after the catch.
But it starts with the fear of the run game.
Yes. If you don't fear the run, I'm not. Why would the linebacker step in?
Does it matter the style of runner? Because I'm thinking like Nick versus Jerome when Nick's back. Like, it doesn't matter the style of run. You just have to fear the back.
Yes. I mean, obviously, you would fear maybe the bigger back. If it was Derrick Henry, you better get down there because he's going to run me over. But if it's a shifty back, I mean, you can still get whoop in the hole. So, like, you still got to go in there and close the space. That's how you stop athletes. You close the space and give them no room.
Man,
I feel like I need to be back on the board.
Derrick Henry is going to be
he can be scary in Baltimore.
With Lamar.
Yeah. Hey, Ty, real quick before we give you the rest of the top five, how much does quick decision-making and processing play into the RPO style of offense? You have to be on point, super quick and decisive.
Yeah, right? It's just reads. Like I said, you usually read that front side linebacker, and that's kind of where you go from there. You do a progression from there. But if you're running the ball and it's like, if it's an option, like if you can pull it, obviously that DN is going to be the one to tell you that tackle's he's going to go up the field, let that DN come down. He's going to go up and try to seal the linebacker off, which you're reading that DN. If that DN crashes down on the running back, you pull it and go around. But if that DN plays you let the ball go, and then that's how you do it. If it's a pass, then it turns into the linebacker. Now you're reading that front side linebacker. If he steps up, throw the ball behind him. If he doesn't step up, give the ball off. So it kind of simplifies a lot of things, but You read like one or two people.
All right, Mikey. So Kyle Brandt had 5 burning questions or whatever
It was just his 5 most fascinating coach storylines.
Right.
Stefanski and can he make it work with Deshaun was number 5.
You're going to play the other clips for us?
No, I'm just going to tell you guys what it is.
Oh,
If you
okay.
want to talk about any of them, we can talk
Go
about
ahead.
it for a sec.
Yeah.
Number 4, he talked about Jim Harbaugh coming back to Los Angeles, being heralded as a god. Well, you got to prove you're as good as the hype and the expectations are in year 1. Mike Tomlin, can you win a damn playoff game? Was his exact words. You've gotten there. You're over 500. Steelers fans don't want 500. They want playoff wins. Robert Saleh was number 2. Are you a good coach? There's no statistical evidence that states you're a good coach. You've gotten an extra year now. You have all the pieces and the talent on the roster. Are you a good NFL coach? We'll get that answer. And number 1, Mike McDaniel, is it all flash and no substance? Will it actually work when you have to win?
Yeah.
Or is it just a fun storyline that's going to win you some regular season games, but come playoff time, it will fail and crumble in catastrophic fashion? So those are the 5 storylines he thought were most interesting from a coaching perspective. You want to touch on any of the other ones real quick?
I think they're all – the Tomlin thing doesn't really do anything
Tomlin
for me.
doesn't do it for me.
The other 3 are all interesting.
I think he missed a big one in Nick Sirianni.
That is a big one.
Thank you.
Because I don't think Nick Sirianni is going to be the coach
Guy
of the
went
Eagles
from
a year from now
the Super Bowl,
to the hot
where
seat.
he was the darling,
Yeah.
to look to raccoon eyes in the hot seat. I don't know what's happening.
Anytime the front office fires your OC and your DC,
Next.
You're next.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
think about it. That's what happened with the Chargers with Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
You know, they fired the OC and the DC. Stuff didn't change. The next thing was him. So Sirianni is very much in that category.
I would take Tomlin off that list. That doesn't excite me.
I think the Harbaugh thing is interesting. I think everybody's just assuming that the Chargers will be really good, but look at their skill positions. They're probably have the worst skill position talent in the league.
Gets bad.
Their number 1 running back is Gus Edwards.
Or J.K. Dobbins. Go Bucks.
Yeah, but I mean he's never been able to stay healthy.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks. Who's their number 1 wide receiver? Josh Palmer?
Josh Palmer and Ladd McConkey.
McConkey, the rookie.
He's a rookie, so maybe he's going to be good. I don't know.
I mean, he seems like he's one of those possession receivers. He can make plays. They gonna run the ball anyways. I mean, it's Jim Harbaugh. Like they want to run the ball.
How do you have Justin Herbert and not give him?
Yeah. Well, everybody
weapons
thinks
than
they're going to run a ton this year.
But again, how do you have Justin Herbert?
Well, maybe it goes into the Kevin Stefanski. You fear to run first, and then it opens up it clears the picture for Justin Herbert.
I mean, Michigan crap aside, I think Jim Harbaugh's a really good coach.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm sure he's going to figure it out. But it's just kind of interesting that
Justin
Herbert might be the quarterback who is talked about the most, who has produced the least.
Yes, 100%. Well, or Deshaun Watson.
Or Trevor Lawrence.
The shine is off Trevor Lawrence, as far as I'm concerned. That's just me.
Yeah.
I've never been a big Lawrence fan.
It's over with.
I was never a big Lawrence fan.
What else? You had the McDaniel thing is fair.
No, yeah, that was.
They've kind of flamed out at the end of the season the last 2 years.
Did you see the meme going around of him?
Of him talking about Tyreek Hill?
No,
baby
it
mom.
was Miami drug lord.
Yeah, that's good too.
First day Best Buy associate manager, assistant manager, now Miami kingpin.
Two years in Miami can do anything to anyone.
That was hysterical.
There's also a video of him, I don't know how they did this, AI or whatever, of him talking about the 82 baby mamas that Tyreek Hill has.
I saw that.
And all those
Yeah,
kids.
Let me tell you, AI.
It's scary.
It is
disturbing.
It caught me like a couple weeks ago. I got trapped in something that I thought was real, and I sent it to a couple people. I'm like, "Would you look at this?" And then it was like, "Oh, never mind. It's AI."
Yeah,
like
it's messed up.
Yeah,
it's messed up.
We're gonna get
and the
burned
Robert
on that.
Saleh thing. I mean, what do you think about Robert Saleh, that Tyvis? He
great,
was your coach,
fantastic coach,
He's not
fantastic coach.
I don't think he's a head coach.
He's a great coach,
Yeah.
great storyteller, great motivator. I really believe that the Jets are going to pull it around. I'm pulling for Robert Saleh. That's a very genuine, authentic guy that a lot of people would play for. So have no beef with Robert Saleh.
All right.
Runner up,
Really cheering
in
for
Cleveland.
him.
Runner up in Cleveland,
Yeah.
Kevin, for that
right.
job.
And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm fired up. My homeboy just won his case, and he just
What kind of case?
Woo, he just won his case. Oh my God, he went against the NFL. He won. Oh my
really?
God. I
Like,
can't
just happened?
stand still. I can't sit
Did he win
still.
money?
Oh my, did he?
A lot of money.
Did he?
Who? Is he sharing the wealth?
Ooh-wee.
Why are you so excited?
Cause it's my homie, man. That's Listen, I like to see good things happen to good people.
All right.
Man.
Do you want to mention who it is or no?
No, I ain't gonna put it. Well,
congratulations
man.
Congratulations to Tyvus.
To Tyvus' buddy for sticking it to the NFL. Love it.
Hey, Bo, we got 30 minutes for our guests. I want to get through 3 topics. So let me get a read in. Let's fly through some of these.
Yeah.
But make sure we give them the appropriate time. And it starts with FanDuel. You guys have heard us talk about FanDuel a lot. It is unquestionably America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, we have a little something different for you guys. Starting today through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime you want. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook. Couple roster moves from the Browns this morning. Andrew Berry and the Browns have released quarterback Tyler Huntley. They signed Deonta Foreman back to the 53-man roster. They also signed Mike Ford yesterday, who was a special teams ace for the team.
To the practice squad.
I
mean, can he be an ace if he's not on the roster and nobody wanted him?
He was an ace last year. Was he still an ace this year?
Yeah.
We'll find out. But
He'll be up.
Are you surprised at the Huntley deal?
No, because I said
situation,
I was consistently saying they weren't going to be able to get anything for him a trade while you guys were talking about your trade nonsense.
We did not say
That's
that.
a lie. You
That
were
is not
warping
what we
reality
said.
on that.
What's that?
You are warping reality.
I said he would have no trade value. And I was right.
And we said that it's still smart for them to at least
It's
test
fine.
the water.
Well, but I'm not complaining about anything they did. But they
You making it seem like we said, oh, yeah, he's worth the 5th
Oh,
round
Jason said he's worth a 3rd-round pick the other day.
Whoa!
That was
He
AI.
did not. I'm
That was
kidding.
the
That was AI Jason. AI Jason said, no, none of this is surprising. You knew Tyler Huntley was most likely going to be gone. Maybe we hoped you can get a 7th-round pick for him. You couldn't, so they cut him.
Yeah.
And Deontay Foreman's back, and now you have 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs as you thought you would.
You knew you weren't going to. You knew more than likely no one was going to pick up Deontay Foreman. Like
Right. Yeah. They probably had an unwritten agreement.
Yeah, I
with
might
him.
say
That's
they
what I'm
told
saying.
him. They probably told him.
You wait, hold on to your 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You wait through cut downs.
Yeah.
See if you can get a bite. If you can't, you
Yeah.
flip them, and that's exactly what happened.
I mean, teams weren't ultimately. They weren't, I know there were some trades, but it's like teams were thinking, okay, well, you're going to cut him anyway.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Berry said, no, we're not. We're going to keep 4 quarterbacks. But everybody knew they weren't going to do that.
Just wait it out.
Yeah, so.
Just wait, because you're not about to go into week 1 with 4 quarterbacks.
No,
For
nobody
what?
does
Like,
that.
Yeah.
So the big mystery is over, and now they're at 3-3. They're still at 2 tight ends, which is unusual.
The only way you would have gotten something for Tyler Huntley, and this is even far-fetched, is that you have fear that another team wouldn't sign to your team. But
Right, but
I don't know what the market's going to be for
Right.
him anyway, so you probably could get him anyway. So
I mean,
that's
he
what
could
teams
just end
probably
up back
say.
on the Browns practice squad. That wouldn't shock me.
It
if
could
that
be
happened
too, but
that way.
why would you do that?
If you're him,
Both.
well, why wouldn't the Browns do it?
For what?
You don't want a 4th quarterback around on the practice squad?
Well, you need DTR to take some type of reps in
you
practice,
want
right?
DTR.
You want him
Yeah.
to get
as many
those scout
as
team
possible.
reps.
Okay.
Because
Fair.
Deshaun and Jameis is going to split. They're going to
Right, okay, fair point.
I was
Scout
relieved
team.
to see that it was Huntley released and not a DTR trade. I would rather release Huntley and keep DTR than keep Huntley and trade DTR for a 6th.
Right, yeah.
You know what I
agree.
mean?
Yeah, sure.
So I was glad to see that it went that way because
Yeah.
I was Zach. I know who Zach was talking. Like Zach was right that I think they fielded calls on all these guys.
Right.
Jameis, DTR.
Yeah.
Maybe not Huntley.
Yeah,
But I think that they were trying to evaluate the market for each.
Right.
How high could they get of a pick, and it wound up being not worth. They would rather have the player than the pick and just cut the 4th guy.
One interesting note from the practice squad: they did not pick up Sione Ika.
I thought they did.
They did?
I don't know about that, actually. That's a good question.
Let me confirm. I'm
I
pulling
know-
up the email from the Browns right now.
Okay. I know their original release was 12 of the 16 guys, and he was
No,
not
you
on
are
it.
right. Siaki Ika was not picked up. Yeah, that's
I called him
accurate.
Sione.
I feel like did he
You
get picked?
combine Sione Taki.
I think so.
And Siaki
Did
Ika.
anybody pick him up?
I don't think so.
Dillard's.
You need to cut that out. You need to stop. You dead wrong.
Him and Togi out here selling suits together.
Hey! There will be no Buckeye slander here.
No, that just was Buckeye slander.
No, he is just floating out in the abyss right now.
So did they sign 16 guys to the practice squad? Isn't it 16 now?
Is it 15 or 16?
Well, if you add Mike Ford to that at the moment.
I think the original list was 12.
I thought it was 15.
But I think
They
Mary
signed
came.
13 to the practice squad initially, and
Yeah.
then they signed a tight end this morning
Right.
and Mike Ford.
So
that's
there's
15
so it looks like
right
there's
there.
one spot left.
Do you want me to run through real quick the 15 practice squad players?
Sure.
Defensive tackle Jawan Briggs, cornerback Tony Brown, wide receiver Jalen Darden, safety Christopher Edmonds, cornerback Justin Hardy Jr., who was one of the last cuts back
Yep.
on the practice squad, Jermaine Ifedi, Sam Kamara, Roy.
The far
La-
international player.
He's the international pathway player.
Yeah.
He's an offensive tackle. James Prochet, Winston Reed. They signed long snapper Rex Sanhara, who's
Yeah.
from the area. Jason, do you have any concern about Charlie Hewlett for week one?
I don't think so.
I feel like it's weird to have an extra long snapper on the practice squad, but
Yeah.
Lorenzo Thompson and Michael Woods, plus Mike Ford, and then the tight end they signed this morning.
Yeah.
His name is, pull up the other email,
Random dude number 3.
Blake Whiteheart.
Of course it is.
There's your practice squad for the 2025 Cleveland
Well,
Browns.
get to know those names because some of them will be up
Oh,
throughout
yeah.
the year.
Sure.
For sure. Some of those guys will be up.
yeah. The
First one off the list, Mike Ford, the guy they signed.
Well, the Ford one is interesting because I know he does bring a special teams element, but I do think he would be up over Justin and Tony because they trust him to go in the game and play corner.
Yeah.
Like the other two is just literally special teams.
Right,
special
right,
teams.
yeah.
Him, if Denzel or Martin went down, they would be fine
Right,
putting
right,
him
right.
in there. And I don't know. Well, I guess Khalif Halassi would be the first choice right now, but he's actually been in there. He's made plays, so they can trust him, and he can do it on special teams. So that one was interesting to me that they went and got that. I'm surprised that they still kept Tony and Justin too, though. That's interesting.
Yeah. I know there was a pass rusher that G. Bush mentioned as the one guy he wanted the Browns to target. Do you remember that yesterday?
Yeah, he got picked up.
He got picked up by the Bengals. He got claimed, and the only reason I knew who he was is because
KJ Henry.
Yeah, I hadn't even heard of him. But then,
never
but G. Bush had mentioned him yesterday, so it's like, oh, okay.
What
That's the guy.
was so good about it?
He led the preseason in quarterback pressure.
G. Bush was excited about him.
Okay.
So
I
that's
mean,
the only reason I
hey,
took note of it.
Preseason, like I said, I've played in the preseason. I made a ton of plays in the preseason.
Yeah.
The regular season is a totally different game. It's totally different than the regular.
All right, Mike. Let's hit the next topic here.
Yep, let's get right into it, guys. If you need Browns gear for the upcoming season, if you want the swaggiest Browns gear on the market,
Swaggiest.
the swaggiest, unquestionably the swaggiest, you can find it at fanatics.com, and we have a special UCSS code for Fanatics. It is what you see on your screen. It's fanatics.com/UCSS. We get a little kickback if you use that code to buy your Browns gear. They also have Cavs gear. They have Guardians gear. They have all kinds of gear, Cleveland and or not Cleveland related. So make sure you're getting your sports gear for yourself, your loved ones, your family, your friends at fanatics.com/UCSS. Tyvis, last year the Browns went 8-1 at home. It was the best record of any AFC team at home in the NFL, the second best overall home record in the NFL behind the Cowboys, who went 8-0. The Bills and the Dolphins both went 7-2. The Eagles and Lions both went 6-2. The Browns only have 8 home games this upcoming season. But Jason, I want to start with you.
Before Jason answers, Mike, you might want to stop saying kickback because that's like a bribe.
It's not a bribe.
I mean, it's a negative don't you think of a negative connotation when you think of the word kickback?
I like kickbacks.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
He said.
They're shady.
It
Kickbacks
depends.
are shady.
No,
Go ahead.
because in the black culture, kickbacks mean like hangouts.
Yeah, but that's not what he's talking about.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
It's a phrase.
I hear you.
Like, we about to go have a kickback. Like,
All right.
I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. So, Jason, do you think the Browns can repeat as the AFC's best home team again in 2024?
No.
Dang.
Look at the schedule.
I hate you.
Well, you're not alone. You're going to have to take a number and wait in line.
Here we go.
We'll get to you.
Let's hear it.
Our call service is experiencing a high volume of calls right now. We'll get to you when we get to you. I mean,
Let's hear it. What's the reason then?
Look at the schedule. That's the reason. Look at the division they play. Look at the schedule.
I haven't looked at the schedule.
Here's the Browns' home schedule. All right. They host
Dallas.
the Cowboys week 1.
Okay.
Yep.
Giants week 3.
Yep, that's a win.
Then they go 3 straight road games. Bengals
Yep.
week 7. Ravens week 8,
Yep.
Chargers week 9,
Yep.
Steelers week 11, and then the Chiefs, the Dolphins,
and that's it.
and that's it. It's a tough schedule.
Now you tell me they're only going to lose one of those games. Come on.
I plead the fifth.
I mean, that's not, you know.
What do you think the Browns' record is going to be this year overall? Because I did the schedule game yesterday, and I have the Browns, and I know piss people off, but whatever, I can't help that. I have the Browns finishing 9-8
I think that's very realistic. 10-7, 9-8. I
Yeah.
think is with the quarterbacks that they play, the schedule
Yeah.
they have to play.
Did I have them? We asked this, and I don't know if I said. I
We're
don't know
gonna
if I
do it
said
again next
10-7
week.
or
Yeah.
11-6. I said one of the two.
I just, for
But
the
I-
first time in 3 years,
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Though,
you are. I'm going into it with way less hope for Deshaun Watson than I have the last 2 years. And if Deshaun Watson plays great, then the Browns will win 11, 12 games, probably.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Maybe even more. But if he's just kind of with the schedule they have,
Are you?
the division they're in.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And it's a fair question.
Okay.
I think I know how you're gonna answer, but I just
right.
want to have it on record.
Yeah.
Does Deshaun Watson have enough playmakers around him to be successful?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Do you think so?
I'm just asking the question.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I'm just asking y'all opinion.
I'm asking your
The
opinion.
only thing that gets me is the run game. That's a big part.
I mean, okay.
But then y'all will tell me,
Yeah.
well, the Chiefs, their run game isn't all that great. That's a lie.
I mean, I like Isaiah Pacheco.
I'm about to say Pacheco's good.
In fact, I just took him in the
Josh
fourth
Allen
round
did
of
it a bunch of
fantasy.
years with no run game. James Cooks was good last year.
Who's the Bengals' running back situation?
Joe Mixon was good for the year they went to the Super Bowl. Joe Mixon was really
I'm saying
good.
right now.
None.
They go with Zach Moss and Chase Brown at running back.
I'm worried.
But what do you think about the home record, though? Can they also?
You saying lead the league?
I'm asking, yeah.
Or
First of all, the odds of any team leading the league are not good because you got 16 different teams that could do it. The
well, not
Browns,
really.
There's,
There's like 5 that can do it.
No, in the AFC, there's probably 8.
Probably.
Okay,
Not 16.
But, all right, not 16. Fair. The Browns are unlikely to have the best home record this year. They had an extremely favorable home schedule last year, including when they played. Obviously Joe Burrow was hurt in the first week. When they played the Cardinals, Kyler Murray wasn't back yet.
And they caught every break. The missed field goal against the 49ers.
Right. Yeah, right. That was a crazy game.
that was a great. That was a great game.
Didn't McCaffrey get hurt in that game too?
Yeah.
Debo and
McCaffrey both got hurt. Listen, the Browns play great at home. I still think they'll be good at home.
I
this
do
year,
too.
But the odds of them being the best home team, not great.
Okay.
I think they're going to go. I feel like they're going to go 5-3 at home.
I mean, that falls right in line with
Nah.
Actually, if they go 5-3,
What's your 3 losses? What you got? Dallas, Dolphins, and
Dallas.
I actually
no,
think
not
they beat
Dolphins.
Miami.
see. I think they beat
they're playing
Dolphins
them
too.
Christmas. I think they'll lose to Dallas. I think they'll lose to Kansas City at home, and then I think they'll lose one division game at home. I don't know which one, but they'll. I think they're going to split. I think they're going to go 3-3 in the division. I think they'll go 1-2 on the road and 2-1 at home in the division. That's my prediction.
That's fair. I'm not mad at that.
That would be 5-3.
Oh, but you hate me. You're not mad at him. You're not mad at him, but you hate me.
I said that prematurely. I should have sat back and let you say your piece, and I should have gathered all the evidence first and then said something. I plead the fifth. I'm not answering the question.
Oh, shoot. That's funny. I do think I agree with you, though. I think they're a good home team. I think they'll have a winning
No, they're
record
definitely
at
going to
home.
be good. The fans is going to be there rowdy,
Yeah.
and if they're winning games, that's really going to make them have a bunch of energy.
And again, for Jason and I are more skeptical about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I'm about to
than
say,
you
if
are.
y'all saying it, that means a
if
lot.
Deshaun Watson goes and balls out against Dallas and throws for 330 yards and 3 touchdowns, I'm going to look at them. I'm going to look at him and this team completely differently.
Is he still at 0 on the 300-yard games as a Brown?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But
Mike, he has not thrown for 300
But
yards.
he would have
correct?
had it against Tennessee. At the
Sorry,
Watson
Anthony
has
was
not
talking.
thrown for 300 yards in a game, right? for the Browns?
No, he is not. But that Tennessee game, if
would
Amari
have.
Cooper wasn't ruled out of bounds,
I don't care. He did. That's nonsense. Although we did just spend saying the Niners was the field goal. We did what ifs.
Right.
No, he is not there.
You know what? I hope against Dallas, he go ahead and throw for 300 game one.
That would be great.
Let's just get to.
It would pump us
Let's
all
just
up.
rip the Band-Aid off. So
Yeah.
I just like the Nick Chubb thing. I hate when people do this. Like if he gets the ball 20 times, they
So
win.
dumb.
Like if. I need him to get this 300-yard game so we can go ahead and get something else to talk about because that's
I don't think
ridiculous.
we haven't spent any time talking about that, have we?
That was a big thing last year.
Was it? I don't
Oh,
care.
Joe Flacco does it every game. He does it every game.
I think that was more mind-boggling because Joe rolled out of the retirement home and started
No,
dropping throws like that. I
Everything
don't-
Joe was doing, everybody looked right back at Deshaun and said, "But you couldn't do
Because
this."
the offense looked
The
better
offense
with
looked
the
better
guy
with
who,
Joe.
yeah,
who
because
had been
that's
shot.
because that's what Joe Flacco do.
But the guy was in retirement,
That's
basically.
that's like telling McNuggets to go drive to the paint and dunk. He can't do it.
Fact. Fact.
I saw this video from some guy who claims he can get any basketball player, anybody that has any basketball skill at all, to dunk.
Somebody asked me.
You don't have to have basketball skill to dunk.
You gotta have hops.
Well, whatever.
Somebody asked me this question. This is miscellaneous, and I'm sorry we off topic.
Can you dunk?
Yes.
In a game?
Can Asia Wilson go to the NBA and average 10 points a game?
No.
No.
I told Maya Moore could.
No.
Yes, she could have. I don't care what nobody say. I die on that hill. Maya Moore was a beast.
And I'm a-
she
I'm a
was a
big,
certified bucket getter.
Unlike most people in this business, I'm not a sexist, but the reality is that men are physically stronger than most women. That's just reality.
Maya Moore would get to you.
No.
Yes,
She might be able to get 10 in a game, maybe. She couldn't average 10.
But McNuggets.
in garbage time of a
tell her,
40-point blowout.
Did you watch Maya
Yeah,
Moore?
Maya Moore was incredible, but
She can't-
unless she was just left open and had 4 or 5 wide open 3-point attempts, like she's not going to
Caitlin
average.
Clark
She
couldn't do
could
anything in the
score
NBA.
10. No, Caitlin Clark couldn't do anything in the NBA. Yeah.
No.
She pulling from the logo. What you mean?
She
It's
better
different.
shoot it from the
Yeah.
as soon as she
Three-quarters court.
Yes, from the inbounds pass. Let
Well-
it fly from there.
Remember the rock and jock where you get like 10 points?
The
That would-
big hoop.
Yeah, that would be her shot. That's what she'd have to do. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, speaking of basketball, that's going to lead us into our basketball topic before we welcome in Marcus Mosher to help us preview that Cowboys game.
Yeah.
And we said this earlier in the show, but we are thrilled to have 5 Hour Energy on as a sponsor to the show. If you're watching sports, you should grab a 5 Hour Energy shot to stay alert and watch all of your favorite games. Or if you stayed up late to see that intense overtime game the night before, take a 5 Hour Energy shot in the morning so you can start your day off on the right note. 5 Hour Energy is the brand of hardworking people like you who have been trusted for over 20 years to give them the alert, energized feeling they need to get through a busy, hectic day. You always know where to find 5 Hour Energy shots right at the cash register at nearly every convenience and drugstore nationwide. Stock up on the money-saving multi-packs to make sure you never run out of delicious, energizing 5 Hour Energy shots if you go to 5hourenergy.com. That is the number 5, hourenergy.com, and get some 5 Hour Energy products today. You can use promo code LOCKEDONFB to receive 20% off your order. The offer is valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders either. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. So Hoopshype is a website, and it's putting out its preseason rankings of each position group in the NBA. And they did shooting guards earlier this week, and I thought their top 5 was pretty interesting. Steve, if you want to take this. This was their top 5 shooting guards heading into the 2024-2025 season. Anthony Edwards was 1, Booker 2, Donovan Mitchell 3, Jaylen Brown 4, and Jalen Williams number 5. Jason, do you have any issue with how they ranked the top 4 shooting guards in basketball heading into the upcoming season?
I'd actually have Jaylen Brown too.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's that low. I think.
I'd flip-flop Brown and Booker.
Yeah, I'm with you on
y'all
that.
are sick.
I mean, Devin Booker's a great player.
Y'all two are sick.
We're
What?
sick.
Y'all
What did we get
would
wrong?
put Devin Book, Jaylen Brown over. Oh wow.
Yes, Jaylen Brown over Book.
Speak
Yes.
your piece. Go ahead. Keep going.
I wouldn't tie him with you, by the
Yeah,
way.
y'all crazy.
I'd put I would put Jalen 2, probably Book 3, and Donovan 4.
Okay.
If I had to rank them that way. I really like Jaylen Brown. I'm sorry. I think at times he was the best player on Boston.
Tyvis, what's your order? You keep it as is?
Yeah, I keep it as is. I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, Book has literally taken his team to the finals. I know they had CP3, but he was the best player there. He literally.
Jaylen Brown won championship in Boston.
Who's this? Yeah, when he got a big 5.
Booker's got Kevin Durant on his team
Now, but he went to the finals without him.
Wasn't that the COVID finals?
I don't know. They lost to the Bucks in 6.
Oh.
It was not the COVID finals.
They lost to the Bucks in
Lakers
6.
won the COVID.
But Devin Booker literally takes over games. He's a scorer. He can do everything. I don't understand. Like, you talk about dude who can't even go to his left.
He's a wonderful player. Devin Booker is a wonderful player.
Yeah.
He's a great player. I like Jaylen Brown better.
Insane.
You know
Both
what's
of y'all
really
are.
crazy is how is Isaac Okoro not on this list?
He's not a shooting guard. He's not a 2.
That's
why.
the reason?
That's the reason. Mike, why am I wrong on Brown?
Go ahead.
I mean, I think all 4. Edwards is 1. Can we all agree real quick?
Yeah.
Edwards is
Edwards is 1.
Oh, man.
2, 3, 4.
Although he made an ass of himself recently. Did you see that comment he made?
About Magic,
No, what'd he
about
say?
the Michael
That Michael Jordan is the only skilled basketball player from like before this century.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
didn't see
I
that.
mean, what an idiot.
Yeah.
Don't make a fool of
And
yourself.
Magic said that he don't listen to people that haven't won a championship.
Yeah, which Magic is right.
He said he hasn't won in the
And
NBA,
when players
college,
say
or
stuff
high
like
school.
that, they sound like morons. Anthony Edwards, who had a good reputation, sounds like an absolute moron.
I
when he
mean,
says stuff
well,
like that.
he's young.
He is young.
It's not like he's going back watching 80s
You
basketball.
don't have to.
film.
Why would you say that? If you haven't watched it, then why would you say that?
'Cause
You
he's-
sound like an idiot.
I mean, that's just how he feels.
But you just said he probably hasn't watched it.
Why
Would you make an opinion on something
That's
you know
like
nothing
me.
about?
You think I went back and watched what's the
Ronnie Lott.
Whoa, I had definitely seen.
Okay,
Ronnie
so
Lott.
you did go back and watch.
But
Ronnie Lott.
that's
But Tyvis, you wouldn't come out and say none of the corners before 2000 were any good. You're not going to say
listen.
that.
I'd make that argument.
I think all
Yeah, Deion Sanders was no
I
good.
make that outside of Deion.
Deion may be a big douchebag now, but he's a great player.
Deion. You know what? I'd be interested to see some of the receivers from today against some of the corners from back in the day. I think that they give them a nice run for their money. I think the receiver play today is much better than it was.
But that's not the conversation. It
So
may be,
that's the corners that they
he
went up
said
against.
none of those players had skills.
Well, that's
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. That's Magic, Larry.
Yeah,
every
because-
generation thinks
they're the
their
best.
generation is the best.
Exactly. Anyway, go ahead, Mike. What's your list?
That's
there?
not
All right,
true.
so Edwards is 1.
It's not true.
I think it's personal preference on 2 through 4.
Yeah.
If you wanted to come at me with any particular order of 2 through 4 here, Booker, Mitchell, Brown, Book, whatever you want, I think there's a logical argument to be made for all 3. I'll make the case for Donovan being number 2, though, real quick. When push comes to shove, if you needed one of those 3 guys to get you a bucket, who would you want? Booker, Mitchell, Brown. Guy, ball in his hands, last second of a game. who would
Either
you want?
Booker or Mitchell.
Right, but that's not the.
I'm
there's more to it than
I'm
that.
making a case, Bull. I'm just
Okay.
asking you a question.
Yeah, Jason.
I take Mitchell over Jaylen in that situation.
Okay,
yeah. And
okay. Isn't that what this is about? Defining
No.
moments?
How about the 47 minutes and
What about him?
48 seconds
What about him?
before you get to that moment?
What about him? You can stink all
Donovan
that.
Mitchell
but
hasn't had a lot of defining moments in the postseason.
I would take Kyrie over all of those dudes.
That's true.
That's
I
a
agree.
fact.
I
Is he
agree.
the best 2 guard in the game?
Yes.
No.
Yes, he is.
He ain't even a 2 guard.
I know he not, but yes. And the fact that he's not on the NBA top 75 is wrong. I looked at the list last night. It's funny
Top
you brought him
75
up.
of all time?
The fact that Kyrie is not a top 75 best basketball player of all time is wrong. That list is flawed. There's no way you're going to.
Who's 75?
He's better than James Harden and he's better than
Dame
Chris
Lillard
Paul. I
was
don't care what
75,
nobody
I think.
say. He should be in the list over both of them. Yes. CP3 and
right.
James Harden.
I
yes,
guess
I
I
would
would agree.
take Kyrie over them. Don't do that.
So,
James
okay.
Harden, I'm with you.
I don't like James Harden.
He's a bum. Go ahead, Mike.
Dame
he does
Lillard
have-
was 75 on the ESPN.
Yeah, I think
for
Kyrie's
the
better. I agree with
75,
Tyvis.
75.
I'm with you.
All right, so we all agree that if you
Yeah.
need one shot there, you're probably leaning towards Donovan Mitchell, right?
Yes.
Okay. Secondly, in the most now, Donovan certainly had his playoff shortcomings as well. But in the biggest moments when the teams needed one guy to step up and carry an offense by himself, Has Jaylen Brown or Devin Booker ever been able to do what we saw Donovan do in Game 6
Well-
or Game 7 against Orlando?
Well, Devin Booker did it for literally like 7 years with
I mean, Mike,
Suns.
I'm just
That
I'm,
is a-
I'm making
That is
the
a
case.
bogus.
But
Bull, I'm making the case here.
Game 6 against a team that is not a real playoff team.
You can't say Orlando wasn't a real
How are they
playoff
not a real
team.
playoff
I'm
team?
just saying they're not a team that was going to win anything.
That's
They're one of
very
those teams-
different than a real playoff team.
All right. Those two guys have been to the finals. Donovan Mitchell hasn't gone to the finals.
Bull, I'm just telling. I'm making the case. If you wanted to say
Well,
Donovan,
isn't our point?
the
to
question,
argue
wait a
against the
minute. The
case?
question is, what was the question?
have we ever seen Booker or Jaylen Brown when the rest of the offense is completely
Jaylen Brown hasn't had a
non-existent?
great game in the
Devin
playoffs.
Booker is yes. The answer is yes.
Has he had 47 in a playoff game?
I don't know, but he score like 72 in a game.
That's regular season.
It's regular season. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I don't know
Donovan
what he did.
scored 71.
He's been to the finals, so
The other two have been to the finals.
and he was like literally the main reason.
I
so-
don't think that necessarily puts them ahead of him, but I don't buy that argument there. I don't know.
Third, who's the best playmaker out of that list in terms of creating for others? Brown, Booker, Mitchell.
Probably Mitchell.
I was about to say, yeah, Donovan.
In terms of defense, how'd you rank those
Jaylen
two
Brown.
defenses?
Jaylen Brown's first.
Totally agree. So we just went through 4 different categories. Donovan was the only one that you would have picked in 2.
Yeah, it's 3 legitimate categories. The second category was ridiculous.
So you got 1 for each then. My point is, I think you can make that in any
They're
order
all
you
really
want
good
to make it.
players.
Yeah, they're all neck and neck with each
Yeah.
other.
You can
No,
go
they're
any
not.
case.
Two
you
of
really
them
want.
is better than Jaylen Brown. I'm sorry, he's third.
For
who's
Jaylen
4?
Brown rubs me the wrong way.
Who's 4?
On your list, who's 4?
No, he means he's.
Oh,
third out of
Edwards
those
is
3.
first.
Yeah.
I'm talking about out of the 3.
So what's your order?
I told you whatever the list was.
Oh,
Edwards,
all right.
Edwards. I think Edwards, Booker, Mitchell,
Mitchell,
Brown.
right.
By the way, it's stupid to have position rankings now in the NBA because there's not much difference between small forwards and shooting guards these days.
Yeah, it's more wing. They're more of a
Right.
wing,
I mean,
and
it's
also
just-
like, is SGA a point guard? Is SGA
Yeah,
a
and
two guard?
it's so
Like,
stupid.
It
It's
blurs
dumb.
the line of
Yeah.
positional value.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make the case that last year Devin Booker was the Suns' point guard because they didn't have a point guard. It
Right.
was him, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant as the 3 primary ball handlers. So, Steph Curry just agreed on a 1-year, $63 million extension.
I was just reading that.
Oh wow.
Just now?
63.
No
We're
money
like,
for Clay,
we're like
but Steph's
5
got
years away,
63.
Jason, from a $100 million
Steph's still
contract.
good. Clay's not.
Well,
right?
we ran the
You
numbers.
said it was a 1-year deal?
We ran the numbers, didn't we, on when that would come, the $100 million contract?
It
Yeah, I
is
think
a
it's
1-year
20
deal.
It's 29, if I remember our conversation.
All right, so predict-
$62 million.
I remember Dick who gets the first $100
Wemby.
million a year contract.
Wemby's extension will come up right when.
So
if
he's
he
the one?
waits. Now, if he signs early, it'll be too early. So Cooper Flagg might be the right answer there.
How many years away are we? 5?
I think 29 with the new TV deal. If the salary cap continues to increase at the rate it's projected, in 29 we could be looking at 25% of the salary cap, that max contract, being a 9-figure deal or 9-figure number.
Man, NBA players. What's crazy about the NBA is that, like with football, it's really only the quarterbacks that get crazy money with a few exceptions.
The
right?
receivers are catching up.
Yeah, but
Unless
like
you're a Bengal and you can't afford to get paid.
fair.
Poverty franchise.
If it's real, the wide receivers not making quarterback money
No,
though.
but they're
So-
at $30 million now.
yeah, but that's not crazy money in sports terms. I don't think it
$30
is.
million a year?
In baseball.
How many players are making $30 million in baseball?
Not that many.
The fact that
But nobody's making 30 yet. But basketball, you got like average players getting 20,
Yes.
25 million. It's
Yes.
the only sport that happens. And baseball, at least they play 162 games. Basketball players per game are the most overpaid.
Well, it's
because they don't play. Most of them don't play hard in the regular season, and average players get a ton of money. I don't care. I'm not. I don't say that to begrudge them the money. I say every player should make whatever the hell he can make. I'm just saying they are benefiting the most because you have. I mean, like Jared Allen making $20 million a year is crazy.
It's going up. You make
Right.
more than that. You sign an
Right.
extension. But it's 15 players on the roster versus
You don't think
53.
You don't think he's worth $20 million?
No.
High dog.
Well, it's
a league where everybody has to shoot and he can't shoot.
it's the TV contract is
Yeah.
astronomical.
Yeah.
And they only pay 15 guys.
What is
Right, that's true.
What? So it goes quarterbacks, receiver. Where's the DBs on this pecking order? Because
Now the ends are next.
it's literally the toughest position to play.
Well, it's
And
quarterbacks.
if you don't have one, you're not gonna
DNs
win.
have been making a ton of money. DNs and wide receivers, and then comes like corners and
It
tackles.
should be
after that.
should be quarterbacks, DB corners, quarterback corners. That's how it should be on the pecking order.
So the guys who defend the wide receivers because they can't catch should make more money than the wide receivers. Is that what you're saying?
It's the hardest position. If you don't have one, you're
Yeah.
going to lose. Tell me I'm wrong.
Who was the Chiefs' top corner last year? I can't
L'Jarius Sneed.
remember. He's really good. You're right. All right, Mike.
We got our
Change
guest.
the subject.
We're gonna
Tyvus
bring in.
wants cornerbacks paid more.
We're going to bring in our guest here. Quick reminder that on Monday, due to the holiday, we will not have an Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Monday. However, there will be an Ultimate Guardian Show with Bull and Zach Monday
correct.
morning. That is according to EP Steve, who just texted me that. That is news to me. I forgot it was a holiday.
Yep.
So no UCS on Monday, but there is an Ultimate Guardian Show. We'll be back on Tuesday. It'll be a very special show Tuesday. Let's just put it that way. We got a special show coming for you guys on
Yes,
Tuesday to
big
kick
things
off
happening.
the big start of
Yeah.
the 2024 football season. And that starts with the Dallas Cowboys on deck. And we now welcome in Marcus Mosher, the host of the Locked On Cowboys podcast of the show, to help us preview and break down that primetime Week 1 matchup. How you doing, Marcus?
I'm doing great, guys. How we doing?
We're good. Not as good as CD Lamb, who just got paid. Good for him. What did he end up getting per year? Did he get more than Jefferson? I can't remember.
No, it
more
was
guaranteed.
slightly under that, $34 million a year. Now he did get more guaranteed money, which is all that really matters. But on the year-to-year basis, $1 million per year less.
That's fair.
I mean,
That's fair.
I mean,
I gave him more guaranteed though, so
yeah.
it's
CD
fair.
Lamb's great. And Jerry Jones finally spent some. Jerry Jones is the richest owner in the league, and he's the cheapest. I don't understand what is happening.
Explain
Not, not
Why
worse
is he
than
the cheapest
Cincinnati.
owner in the league?
We hear you.
Well, besides the Bengals,
Yeah, he's got this weird deal where he never wants to pay these players early. He would rather see a player have maybe that extra year of production before he gives them a big deal. He's been burned too many times by trying to give these players deals early on in their contracts and then just whiffing, whether it's Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Smith, Terrence Steele. I think he's just completely changed his philosophy of, hey, show me that you can produce multiple years in a row, and then I'll pay you what you're worth. It's an interesting strategy. You don't end up getting a lot of deals, but I do understand the logic behind it.
Hey, chill on the Zeke. The Zeke contract was
the
perfect.
Cowboys' backfield is a nursing home. Dalvin Cook and
Hey,
Ezekiel Elliott.
listen,
Oh my God,
Zeke going for 1,000
he
this
sucks. He is done. He is done. He's
year.
got nothing left in the tank.
Zeke
Marcus.
going for 1,000 this year.
I don't think he's going to go for 1,000, but could he get double-digit touchdowns? I think that's possible. I actually think the Zeke that we saw last year in New England was a usable and useful NFL player, but the days of him being a starting NFL running back are over.
That's right.
And the Cowboys know that. That's why they've brought in other running backs to help spell him. So look for Zeke, especially in this early part of the season, to be used on third downs, short yardage, goal line, and that's probably going to be the extent of his role.
Marcus, how do you feel about, outside of CeeDee Lamb, how do you feel about the rest of the playmakers on that offensive side of the ball surrounding Dak Prescott?
I think it's fine. It's basically the same exact offense that they had last year. Brandon Cooks is the number 2 receiver. They feel really good about Jalen Tolbert, a third-round pick for the 2022 draft, being that third guy. Jake Ferguson had a huge breakout year last year. They think he's going to be even better this season. Cowboys had the number 1 scoring offense last year, so it wasn't a problem on that side of the ball. They feel like as long as the offensive line can stay healthy, some of their young offensive linemen can develop, they should be right back at the top of the leaders on offense.
With CD's contract done, are Dak and Micah Parsons next, or no?
I don't think Micah Parsons is next. I think he is going to wait it out. I think he would like to have another all-pro season, potentially win the Defensive Player of the Year, and then talk about maybe getting a deal upwards of $37, $38 million a year next year. So he's on the back burner. The Dak contract is interesting. The Cowboys would love to sign Dak to a long-term deal right now, and they'd be willing to go over $60 million a year to sign him. It's just not really their call. Dak has not shown a willingness to sign a deal right now because he knows what's coming for him in free agency next year. The Cowboys cannot franchise tag him, which means he will be a free agent. And once you get to the open market, I think he knows that $65, $66 million per year is on the table for him.
No offense, Marcus. I don't know you personally, but I'm rooting for Dak Prescott to leave the Cowboys. Because Cowboy fans, let's face it, you know this. If you're a diehard Cowboy fan, you know this. Cowboys are the shittiest fans on the face of the earth. Okay?
Steeler fans are worse. Can we just get behind that? Steeler fans are the worst fans.
Steeler fans are up there. But the one thing I'll say, Steeler fans are the most obnoxious.
They are.
Steeler fans and Giant fans are the most obnoxious. But there are so many bogus bandwagon Cowboy fans out there. And I know so many Cowboy fans, they're always crapping on Dak Prescott. I don't blame him. I'm not saying he's been perfect in the playoffs. He's not been great at times. But he's not the reason they haven't been good enough. And Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback, I think. I think he's underrated. And I know so many Cowboy fans that are always crapping on this guy. And it's ridiculous. And so I hope he leaves.
Now, before you respond, Marcus, you have to know Bull is laying the groundwork to get Dak Prescott in Cleveland next year. He's been talking about that for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I do think there is a part of Dak that feels underappreciated in Dallas. And maybe that's because of the lack of playoff success, only winning a couple playoff games. But I do think you're right. There are a large section of Cowboy fans that think they should move on from Dak. And I think that's ridiculous. Like, you don't find top 10 quarterbacks very often in the NFL, right? So hold on to those guys. But I agree. I think there is a chance that Dak wants to go to a different franchise, a different organization, and maybe a different fan base that would appreciate him a little bit more. I mean, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys have won 12 games in each of the last 3 years. Again, we could talk about the playoff success, but do you realize how many teams out there would love to have a quarterback that's helping them win double-digit games every year? That's why I think a team like the Giants or the Steelers could be really interested in grabbing Dak next year should he hit free agency.
Well, that's the last thing we need is him going to the Steelers.
Well, do you think Cowboys fans, I mean, Cleveland fans looked for 20 years for a quarterback and couldn't find one. The Cowboys fall into Tony Romo's an undrafted kid, draft Dak in the 4th round. Do you think anything has to do, as far as the fans look, as just go get another, it's easy. Like, they've done it twice now. It's easy to go find another quarterback. Does that play into it at all?
I do think there's some arrogance in the front office that they believe, like, hey, we drafted Dak, we signed Tony, we'll figure this out, whether it's Trey Lance, whether it's drafting a quarterback next year. I do think they have some irrational confidence when it comes to finding the next guy. And I just don't think you should have that, because we've seen several teams across the NFL over the last 20 years have never been able to find that guy. And if you think the Cowboys are going to be competitive this year, which I do, you're going to be drafting in the late teens, early 20s, hopefully in the 30s, and those franchise quarterbacks just don't fall to that point in the draft. So I think the Cowboys should be very, very cautious here about allowing Dak to hit free agency. And again, they want to sign him. Let's just be clear. They want Dak back. But Jerry Jones has said that they are recruiting Dak rather than trying to re-sign Dak, because they know it's ultimately up to Dak whether he wants to be back or not.
Marcus, when you think about game 1 against the Cleveland Browns and that defensive line, what do you think their offensive line or their offensive plan is to slow down Myles Garrett and company?
Well, you can't stop Myles Garrett, right? Like, he's going to get his at some point. Even if he doesn't get sacks, he's going to disrupt the game. You're going to have to build your entire game plan around not letting Myles Garrett destroy you, right? So that probably means a lot of help to whatever side he's on. And that's the difference between Jim Schwartz and some of the other defensive coordinators. They'll move Myles Garrett around, making it harder to stop him. But I anticipate in this game a lot of quick passes, a lot of trying to run the ball up the middle just to keep their rookie left tackle, Tyler Guyton, afloat on that side. It's going to be really hard. Myles Garrett's the best defensive player in the league for a reason. I don't anticipate the Cowboys shutting him down or shutting him out at all.
Who do you have to pick one, Myles or your guy, Micah Parsons?
They're so different. I think Myles Garrett is the better pure pass rusher, but I love Micah's versatility and being able to play him at linebacker. You can line him up over the center. He's a fantastic pass rusher. Listen, I'm going to probably lean Garrett just because the size difference is so great. But I think both players are the top 2 in the NFL, not only at their position, but just the top 2 overall defensive players.
How concerned are you? We talked about the game plan and stop Myles Garrett, but just in general, I know there's some concerns about the Cowboys' offensive line. What kind of shape is it in heading into the season?
Well, they're likely going to start 2 rookies. Tyler Guyton, their first-round pick from Oklahoma at left tackle. Now, he's been fantastic in preseason, but it's a rookie left tackle going up against Cleveland in Cleveland. That's going to be rough. And then Cooper Beebe, who they drafted in the 3rd round from Kansas State. I really don't have very many questions about him other than he's only been snapping the ball for a couple months. He's been lights out everywhere else. What makes me feel confident about this offensive line, Tyler Smith at left guard, Zach Martin at right guard. Those are 2 of the best guards in the NFL. I think those guys are going to help the Cowboys be able to run the ball at least at a competent level. But it's my biggest concern going into this game because Cleveland's defensive line and the pass rush that they can generate is unlike anything else in the league.
Well, let's talk about our quarterback, Deshaun Watson. What is your thoughts on him and obviously them bringing in Ken Dorsey and helping Kevin Stefanski come up with a game plan? Or is Deshaun in this offense something that Dallas should fear?
Well, this is a new look offense for Cleveland, right? It's not going to be the Kevin Stefanski offense that we've seen over the last couple of years. And frankly, that style of offense has given the Cowboys more problems. When you try to get into a traditional drop back passing attack, that's where the Cowboys have been pretty good over the last couple of years. And that's where Mike Zimmer thrives with some of the simulated pressure. So I actually think they match up better if the Browns just want to try to drop back and throw the ball 35, 40 times a game. It's the run game that concerns me. The Cowboys do not have the defensive tackles and the linebackers to stop run-heavy teams. So please, Cleveland, if you want to just try to chuck the ball all over around the field, I think the Cowboys could live with that.
DaRon Bland obviously is going to be out for a while. How big a loss is that?
Massive. I mean, he's an all-pro cornerback that teams were terrified to throw against last year. And when you have DaRon Bland and Trayvon Diggs on the other side, it makes it pretty hard to attack the outside the hash marks. But the good news is the Cowboys have some depth, right? Trayvon Diggs, Jordan Lewis in the slot. They have this rookie, Kalen Carson from Wake Forest, who they absolutely love. I expect Cleveland to target him early and often, but as a whole, the Cowboys secondary is probably the strength of their roster. I still anticipate them having some pretty good results on that side of the ball.
Let's go back a couple of years. Why did Jerry Jones give Amari away for a 5th-round pick?
There's a lot of different reasons. Some of the ones I'm not sure we can talk about in this show, but I just don't know if Amari Cooper's attitude and mentality fit what Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy wanted. Now, I will tell you, Dak Prescott loved Amari Cooper. I mean, he is the best route runner that Dak has ever had. I still think Amari is one of the best route runners in the NFL right now. I'm just not sure the personalities meshed fantastic in Dallas between Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, and Amari Cooper.
Now, can you explain that? Because Amari is the most quiet, at least in Cleveland. He didn't say anything. Like, he is the most anti-diva type receiver. To have any team say the personality doesn't fit is pretty surprising.
Well, you're right. And Amari is incredibly smart. He's cerebral. He has a book club with all of his friends, and some of the Cowboys teammates still go to it. I don't want this to sound like Amari's a bad guy or anything like that, because it couldn't be further from the truth. But like, if you look historically at the Cowboys' top receivers, it's Drew Pearson, Michael Irvin, Dez Bryant. These guys are like alpha receivers who are sometimes the leader on the offense. They're outspoken, they're brash. The Cowboys like that personality. Now, CeeDee's not really like that, but Amari Cooper couldn't be further from that. And it's just a difference in philosophy of what they wanted from their alpha X receiver.
All right, well, Marcus, let's wrap it up with your prediction for the game and your prediction for the Cowboys this season.
I think this is going to be a pretty low-scoring game. Usually the offenses are a little bit behind the defenses. Dak did not take a rep in preseason. Neither did Deshaun Watson. Both the offensive lines are dealing with some injuries. They're dealing with some injuries at the running back position. I expect this to be a 20-17 type of game. And I'm actually going to pick Cleveland here. I think Cleveland's going to take care of business at home. I still think the Cowboys are going to be fine this year. I think 10 wins is probably pretty likely, which would be a drop-off, actually, from what they've done over the last 3 years. But Dallas should be a borderline playoff team with a really good offense once again.
Thanks, Marcus. Good stuff, man. We appreciate the time.
And make sure you guys check out Marcus
anytime.
on the Locked On Cowboys podcast. He also does Locked On Dynasty Fantasy Football. He's the main host of that, so you can follow
very
him
interesting.
on Twitter. He's got a big Twitter following and does a great job with the Locked On Network, which we are a part of as well. So, Marcus, thanks for joining us today, man. Really appreciate it.
Of course,
Thanks,
anytime.
Marcus. Steve Becker put in our group chat that Mike wants to punch me in the face.
When I was trying to make the point, and you
Yeah.
kept derailing my ability to make a point earlier.
Which point?
Wait a
In
minute.
the whole Mitchell thing, but I don't want to punch you in the face, Steve.
That
Steve
guy,
wasn't
he
here.
played.
Mike never wants. Have you ever wanted
No.
to punch me in the face?
He plays
Oh, I'm
fantasy
sure.
football. We should
I
ask.
love Mike, and he knows I
Why
love him,
didn't
so
we
why would he wanna
ask
punch
him
me in the face?
CBS or Yahoo?
Oh, well, we didn't know he did fantasy football till the end.
Missed out.
Speaking of
Yeah.
something, I have not listened to this full clip yet. I've just
Yeah.
seen the transcription on Twitter.
Is it about Shefty?
Yeah,
on
we're gonna
Pat
play this
McAfee?
clip. Yep, we're gonna play this. It's worth talking about real quick. We got a few minutes and only 2 super chats. So, Steve, let's take this from the Pat McAfee show. Adam Schefter with Pat McAfee regarding something with the Browns.
Shefty, am I doing too much of this? Am I doing too much of this? I know you just watched what just took place. Cleveland opens up a lot of money right before the season starts. Why would they do that? Unless they were trying to make a signing or bring somebody in. What are your thoughts on it? And should I be linking this all together?
Well, let me say this. With Brandon Ayuk, nothing ever seems to be what it appears to be, right? On Thursday, August 1st, I thought a trade to Cleveland was happening and was imminent, and then it didn't get done. And so the holdup with Cleveland all along hasn't been whether or not the Browns have cap space. The holdup there has been Brandon Ayuk's willingness to accept a trade to Cleveland.
Big money.
The contract would have been done there if he wanted to go. The compensation would have been done there if he wanted to go. He's balked at going to Cleveland in the past. Now, could he change his mind today, in the next week? Anything's possible here, because I would venture to tell you that there's never been a case as unpredictable as the one that has gone on this summer between the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk. At various points dating back to before training camp, the 49ers thought they had a deal with Brandon Ayuk, and they didn't. They thought there was a trade with the Cleveland Browns, and then there wasn't. A trade with New England was coming together until it wasn't. A trade with Pittsburgh was going to happen until it didn't. He was re-signing with the 49ers after meeting with them until he didn't. He was going to be traded again until he wasn't. Now, he was going to practice yesterday until he didn't, until he ghosted him. So, how many people have been out there also pointing out that trades with teams are done? Like, at various points, I've heard he's going to Pittsburgh. I've heard he's going to Cleveland. I've heard. Has anything gotten done yet? No. All of a sudden, at some point, when Mike Lombardi's saying the rubber meets the road, yes, when we were on Monday here, we're saying this becomes a critical week for all sides to get together, to push, to make something happen. It doesn't mean it's going to be resolved, but there certainly were going to be renewed efforts this week with CeeDee Lamb, which got done, with Jamar Chase, which seemed to be going the right way until yesterday, with Brandon Ayuk, which continues to be a situation that has been a stalemate, with Trent Williams, which hasn't been a lot of progress so far, and with Hassan Reddick, which also a stalemate with not a lot of progress so far. But that's not for a lack of effort this week from teams and trying to make something happen, knowing that the regular season's opening 1 week from tonight.
Which is awesome. Yeah, we're all happy about it. It's very good news. But it is deadlines normally bring compromises and agreements in this entire.
Boy, you were right. Brandon Ayuk just didn't want to come to Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't know that I was right.
Well, I mean, you said earlier in the show that
that's what the word had been.
Well, Deshaun didn't want to come here,
He kept adding.
how's that been so far?
and he's here.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because I was sitting there thinking, if they could still make that deal.
Yeah.
Why would he not want to come here? I don't
But the
understand.
funny part is, I didn't even think about this.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper hasn't played at all this preseason.
Yeah.
Was it because of injury? Was it because they were saving him? Was it because he didn't want to? Because they didn't need to?
But they gave him some more money.
Yeah, but I told you before they was doing right by him. He's open to the trade.
Yeah, I hear you.
He wouldn't mind it at all. And I told y'all if I was him, I'd take that trade. If I was Amari Cooper, I'd push for it myself.
Tyvus, why would Ayuk not want to play here, you think? Does it have to do with Cleveland or does it have to do with the Browns?
Well,
your best guess.
One, Cleveland does get a bad rep. You think Cleveland, you think about
right,
that.
But
then you get here and be like, wow, it actually ain't that bad. But maybe
there's a stigma.
Yeah, it is. That's a fact.
But you think that's more what this is about? I mean, I know you're just guessing, but
yeah,
is from a football perspective, could this be any kind of indictment on Stefanski, an indictment on Watson, anything?
You couldn't put an indictment on Stefanski because Stefanski's had successful receivers. Right. Diggs, Cooper, he's dealt with that. So that's not the case. Could it be that he don't believe in Deshaun? That could possibly be a thing, but if you talk to anybody around here, they'll say Deshaun is fine. He's going to be great. So
I don't know how you could not have faith in Deshaun but want to have faith in Russell Wilson.
Right, that doesn't make it. It's a good
that
point.
doesn't make sense either.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's the Cleveland stigma, I swear.
I mean, look at Odell. All the stories about Odell on the field saying, get me out of here. Like, he didn't want to come here.
Come get me. Come get me.
Come get me.
Yeah. But Pittsburgh, it's not like Pittsburgh has a great reputation as a city. Obviously, the organization.
The franchise is
but that has nothing to do with the city.
But still, at least you winning games. With Cleveland, it's like a lot of nationally, to some of the friends that I still have, when you think about Cleveland, it's still like, it's like what Jay said, the Browns is going to brown at some point. Like, it's great, it's cute that y'all doing us, but like, at some point, it's going to
sign a deal with the Niners.
And until they get over that hump, it's hard for people to be like, that's a serious organization. They're gonna be really good.
It's hard to change a reputation.
Yeah,
that's been.
They gotta win. They gotta win some play. They gotta get to like the AFC Championship game or something like that, and people will be like, "All right, I see it now."
But in the end, if the Steelers weren't interested in giving up much, reportedly. Like, here are the Browns.
They ain't got nothing to give.
Hey, say what you want about the Browns. I've been plenty critical. They pay people.
Yeah,
but when you making a move like that, you want to get the happy medium. Okay, I'm gonna get paid, but I also want to win a championship.
I would argue the Browns have a much better chance of winning a championship than the Steelers right now, and that's even with my concerns about Watson.
I would say that may be true. We'll have to see how the quarterback. We have to see how the quarterback things play out for both of them in the next couple of years.
Well, if Jimmy's not going to take no for an answer, just keep adding zeros to the check, just like you did.
Let's go.
2 years ago?
By the way, a couple of notes that you may.
I would be sad to see Coop go though, if they did.
Absolutely.
I think that there is.
Is there any chance they're getting him without trading Cooper?
No. You gotta have a replacement.
Is there any concern over acquiring a guy who is this fickle?
There has to be.
Yeah, I'm about to say, wouldn't you be?
Like, I think at this point, I'd walk away from the table and say,
but you know what?
We're good.
The thing is, you can't deny the talent, and you can't deny that if you get him, what they believe is if we get him in the locker room around our guys,
we can win him over.
They'll win him.
Sort of the Donovan Mitchell Cavs thing.
We get him in our locker room.
Here.
Because you got the bad stigma. Even Odell, he had a bad stigma, but you got him in that locker room, and it's like, you know what? This is actually
Brandon
cool.
Ayuk's way better than Odell. He's an ascending player. He's a really good player. He's 4 years younger than Amari, right?
Something like that.
By the way, Denzel Ward, according to Kevin Stefanski, has cleared the concussion protocol.
Great.
So it looks like he's going to play.
They also named captains.
I know. I was about to mention that. Denzel Ward, Joel Bitonio.
Denzel a captain?
Yep.
Let's go! That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I see you, baby. Let's go.
Joel Bitonio.
Big for me. I'm sorry. That's big for me.
Really?
Yeah. Captain? Oh, man, that means that everybody in your locker room is voted on by the players. So, that means everybody respects you and understand the hard work and sacrifice. And when things go rough, they look at you. So, that's big to be honored as a captain.
Joel Bitonio, Myles Garrett, Charlie Hewlett, and Deshaun Watson are the other captains. Was
Nick Chubb a captain last year?
He was the captain 2 years ago.
Yeah. Was Watson a captain last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, he'll have the 2 stars on his C.
There you go.
Is that how they do it, Tyvus? They put a.
You never knew that? You see,
I didn't know that.
You see the C, it's got like the 2 little stars.
Did you get 3 if it's your 3rd year as a captain?
Well, they fill it in. There's 3 of them on there, and they fill them in each time you like been a captain. So like if you go back and like the picture of Dak, if you see Dak's, his whole thing is gold because he's been captain more than 3 times.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Look at that. You learned something
Y'all
new
never
every
looked
day.
at that?
Never
Wow.
noticed it. Never noticed it. Mike, any super chats today?
We do. We have 4. We got a couple
Oh, wow.
late ones. Rubber City said, if I pay for the CBS fee, can I join the league? Good throwback to the start of the show.
Nice.
That's awesome.
DB Dog 21 says, I always go back to the comment that Deshaun said about Stefanski not liking the way he didn't carry out his play action fakes. It didn't work, hence the change on offense.
That goes back to the film session that you referenced when they were in Houston in Rusty's office for the first time. And Deshaun asked Kevin, give me something to work on. What's something that you think I could get better at? And Kevin said, clean up play action, and you could be better with ball fakes. That was the first thing Kevin pointed to. And Deshaun laughed and said, you sound like my high school coach.
That's funny. You know who had a good play action? Joe Flacco had a mean
Yeah, he did.
play action. He did something like this, tossed the ball. If it was,
You know, I went back and looked at old
you
clips.
go back and watch that. Oh man, if I was a DB, I'd have ate it up.
You know who Baker was better at?
He
it
was
than
excellent. That's his only excellent
He's
skill.
good at play action.
Really good. I don't think
Baker should never have gone first overall because he has no excellent traits. But that was the one thing he was really good at.
I saw some
Them
old
play
clips of him in
actions.
Cleveland. Was like, man, he was really good.
He
at
was
that.
excellent at that.
Yeah.
You know who was great
Show
back in
that
the day?
ball,
Boomer Esiason.
Steve DeBerg, best to ever do it.
Wasn't he a lefty too?
No.
Steve Young was a lefty. Steve DeBerg was a righty. Go ahead.
2 more. Then I would like to rack our minds around some other great play action quarterbacks. I got a few names I'll throw at you. The Big Hurt says, I'm a Browns fan stationed in Korea here. You guys have the best content. Thank you for all your hard work. Can't wait to get another Bull vs. Q segment at some point this season.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
We'll get Quincy
the
back
run
on.
game.
Thank you. What's his name?
The Big Hurt, Hert.
And he's in the military?
Just said Browns fan stationed in Korea. So I'm going to
Stationed,
assume
I'm assuming
he means
military.
military,
Well,
but I
Thanks
don't
to
want to make
him
an assumption.
for what
So-
the rest of us who are too cowardice to do.
I'm not a coward. I'm lazy.
All right, fair.
And Halim, who always super chats.
Halim,
so shout
man.
out
He
to
must be
Halim.
rich, Halim.
Halim's a good dude. He's came in before.
Is it
met
insulting
Halim.
him to say he must be rich?
No.
Okay.
He seems to do well for himself.
Yeah.
Good dude. We really like
Yeah.
Halim a lot, though. He says,
Yeah.
Bull.
Yeah.
Dak has had loaded teams in a weaker NFC, yet has only won 2 playoff games. That is 1 more than Watson. Let it go.
I'm not going to let it go because it's not that simple. You don't just lose or win in the playoffs because of the quarterback. Obviously, it's the most important reason, but it's not the only reason. And right now, Dak is way better than Deshaun Watson. I don't think any reasonable person could disagree with that.
I feel like when you say something like that, it just puts us back to 3 years ago.
Right.
When they traded for him, Deshaun was way better than Baker.
He was.
But you don't know what they're going to be until they get into that system.
That's
so,
fair, but, you know.
I don't know. I'm more of a how often does a quarterback leave a team, go somewhere else, and be still successful?
Great quarterbacks
Drew
don't
Brees.
usually leave teams.
That is a great point.
You know, it's very rare, especially in the prime of their career. So a lot of times it happens when they're older.
Kirk Cousins. It's becoming more of a. I think it's going to be it's never was previously.
Yeah.
I think it might be in the future.
But still, even Kirk.
It still doesn't happen.
Kirk
very often.
Cousins is like a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback.
No, but
when's
he
the
didn't-
last time?
He didn't change teams to get worse.
Tom Brady did.
Drew
leave to go
Brees
to the
left
Super Bowl.
Miami. When not Miami, he left the
San Diego.
Chargers. He
was okay.
He hadn't done much
He
there.
was okay.
He
They-
became
they
special
was
in
big
New
on
Orleans.
LaDainian
He was
Tomlinson at
hurt
the
early in
time.
his career. He wasn't there very long. When's the last time
Tom Brady.
a guy who was in his prime?
Tom Brady.
He wasn't in his prime.
He went to the Super
he was
Bowl
still-
and won.
Look,
But he was past his prime.
he was still great.
He was.
In the Tyvus, I'm talking about
LeBron
the
is
middle of their
past his
career.
prime. He's still great.
Tyvus, I'm talking about in the middle of their career. When was the last time a great quarterback between the ages of 25 and 32
Michael Vick.
switched teams?
Michael Vick.
I think it was. Well,
Yeah, but he was coming off 2 years in jail.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a superstar quarterback.
Honestly,
Yes, he was.
Steve Becker says Joe Montana.
he was at the end.
was old
Montana's
already.
at-
What are you
honestly,
talking about?
It was Fran Tarkenton. because I wrote about it.
Yeah.
It's like
when
the
the, when the
50s.
Browns got Watson, right?
Yeah, I wrote about it when the Browns got Watson. It was like the 50s.
Right.
But at the last time, prime of his career. Type
Manning, Favre,
I think it was Frank.
Rodgers, Brady,
All at the end of
Montana.
the- all
Those
at the
guys
end of
were
their
all
career.
old.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they weren't still good, but they were old when they went. Kirk Cousins, good play. I mean, he's one of the better quarterbacks to change teams.
He was a good quarterback. Changed teams, was still a good quarterback.
Still a good quarterback.
Jay
yeah.
Cutler, not that
He
level.
wasn't
I'm
even
just
as good
naming
as Cousins.
quarterbacks that
Yeah.
have switched now. Cutler.
Yeah, Cutler's just a slappy.
It's better to
P.J.
just draft one and
Walker.
develop them.
Who got cut?
I know.
Scott Mitchell, Detroit to Miami.
Remember, everybody thought he was going to be really good because he had like 5 good games.
Jared Goff.
Vinny Testaverde.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff's a good
That's
one.
a good one, and he's
Yeah.
actually been better in Detroit. All right, we'll see you on overtime on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Peace. 12-14.